Hello. Hello, what's going on? W Razor, thank you so much, Razor. Appreciate you, Razor. W Razor, appreciate you. From my home. Trump says he'll extend the ceasefire with Iran. So I had to go do something today. I wanted to go live an hour earlier, but uh, you know, I anyway. So I was walking through the store and I hear Trump extended the ceasefire. And basically what he's doing is chickening out once again. So, as everyone knows, and let's get some tacos in the chat, Trump always chickens out. He did it again. He did it again. I was trying to see the details here. Let me pull this up really quick. Illusion, thank you for the $1.99 super chat. Yes, that's 100% true. Let me see if I can pull this up really quick. I'll play this one. Here we go.
Just released a statement moments ago. Let's get right to CBS News White House reporter Olivia Rinaldi. Olivia, what's the very latest?
Hey, Liz, good to see you. I told you there were a lot of developments today. In the last 10 minutes since we just spoke, there was one more very big development. President Trump on True Social just wrote, based on the fact that the government of Iran is seriously fractured, and upon the request of the Field Marshal of Pakistan and their Prime Minister, he says, quote, we have been asked to hold our attack on the country of Iran until such time as their leaders and representatives can come up with a unified proposal. I have therefore directed our military to continue the blockade and in all other respects remain ready and able. The president goes on to say, I will therefore extend the ceasefire until such a time as their proposal is submitted and discussions are concluded one way or the other, signed from the President of the United States. So there you have.
So, folks, once again, he's threatened something he wasn't willing to do. Shocker. Let's open up the phone lines and see what Trump supporters are willing to call in. Let's go from there, folks. Yeah, I got to pull that up. I haven't looked at that yet, so that's the way it goes. So if you are a Trump supporter and you disagree with me, 908-652-3703. Again, 908-652-3703. All right. Let's look at the chat here. Paisley, thank you so much. Appreciate you, Paisley. Fast Eddie said, this man's headed to the penitentiary. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You're talking about Trump? 210 Rain Christopher. W210 Rain Christopher. Let's friggin' go. 210 Rain Christopher. W Christopher. Litter says, how long before someone complains in the chat this isn't live? Fucking incompetence, dude. Yesterday I was laughing my ass off, right? Because this guy calls in. All right, let me take this guy first.
Call from
Jackson Nicolaitis.
Jackson, are you a Trump supporter?
Happy Taco Tuesday.
Yeah, guy, I'm not, like, if we're debating, we're debating. I'm not playing this fucking game, okay? If you want to debate, we can debate. If not, then don't call in. Sandra says, we just don't like you. That's why we don't call you. Sandra, who doesn't call? Sandra? You talking to me, Sandra? You triggered, Sandra? You triggered? Listen, you done voted for a PDF file, and there's nothing I can done do to save you from that. So if I was you, Sandra, I'd done leave and go find a live with some incompetent Trump supporters, because I don't think this is the one for you. That's in your best interest. Yeah, that's what I do. Trump supporters, are you crying in the chat? Guys, this is their excuse for crying and being embarrassed that they support Trump. Why should we? If you are a Trump supporter, call in 908-652-3703. If you're not embarrassed, of course. If you're embarrassed, then of course don't. I mean, listen, I'd be embarrassed at this point. I mean, chat, and I think you understand, like, voting for Trump at this point and supporting Iran is, you know, kind of an embarrassing thing.
Call from.
Not everyone's embarrassed
My
of
name
it,
is Cool Man.
but a lot of people
To
are.
accept, press 1. To send a voicemail.
Hey, Cool Man, so I'm going to call your mom during the course of this live. We're setting up a thing where I'm going to contact your mother, and she's going to permanently ground you. He hung up. Too late, man. I already
Call
got
from.
you. Yes, are you a Trump supporter? Yeah, I'd hang up if I was you. That was a bad move. They're crying. Listen, if my name was Sandra, I don't give a fuck who you voted for. You said we. You already told on yourself. When you say we, referring to Trump supporters, Sandra, you've told on yourself. So, like, when I refer to Trump supporters, I don't say we. When you say we, that means that you're referring to yourself. You literally told on yourself. Oh, my God. You literally told on yourself. Guys, do you refer to yourself as we when you're referring to Trump supporters like Sandra? Does anyone else refer to themselves as we? Like, I mean, I'm just asking. Anyone in here? Bueller? I don't remember ever referring to myself as we. I don't agree that Trump made himself look like Jesus. Spidey or Speedy or whatever. What do you think he was trying to make himself look like? I mean...
Call from.
Why do these squeakers keep calling me? Are you a Trump supporter?
Call from.
Oh, please.
Stop calling me. You squeak.
Hi.
Hi, are you a Trump supporter?
Hello. You better yell. Sorry.
Oh my God. Why do we always in the beginning get these little squeaking kids? Like, honestly. I just take their numbers and, well, I'm not going to say what happens next. They think if they call from, like, they try and hide their number that I can't do anything about it, but, you know. You know that guy David yesterday, the little kid that called a bunch of times? He won't be calling again today. We had a long conversation with his mom. You know, it tends to be the one thing that fixes it, you know?
Call from.
Gerald.
Gerald, how old are you? What the fuck, man? These little kids on YouTube, it's so fucking annoying. I literally put not made for children. Hi, are you a Trump supporter?
Yeah.
Okay, how old are you? All right, I'm not listening to background noise. They really do. They must look up to me or something, you know? I was talking to someone else's streams on YouTube, and they're like, yeah, these little kids calling. They told me a way to fix it. The kid David won't be calling anymore. I can promise you that. We had a nice conversation with Mommy earlier. We had a nice conversation with Mommy. Exactly. Did you guys see those guys that do the run through Scientology thing building? That shit's funny as hell. And how they try and block the doors. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that, but it's funny as hell. Yeah, I will. Listen, I'm petty, right? I'm petty. I'll knock on your door with a tray of lasagna and have dinner with the fam. I'm that petty. All right? I'm that petty. I will knock on your door with a tray of lasagna. Okay? These guys, they don't know me. And then when they make that mistake, they're like, damn, this probably wasn't the one to do this with. Houston Cosmo says RFK Jr. is a genius and Trump is pretty much a god. Houston, why don't you call in? Do you live in Houston? Houston? Houston, I really, desperately want to talk to you, dude. You seem like a genius. You really do, bro. You seem like a genius. This kid's calling off a *67 number, which we already have. I'm just going to drop this number in specific on Reddit. That's what I'm going to do. Houston, did you vote for Donald Trump? Just curious. Yes, there is a ceasefire, at least until the negotiations are done. So I'll bring up the terms here specifically just so we can go over it. Somebody said they released a 10-point plan, a new 10-point plan. Where'd you see that, Illusion? I just know Trump chicken out. Because that's what he does. He chickens out. See if has Trump commented publicly, or is this all through? Oh no, he did give an interview today. see if he said anything of interest really quick. I'm not going to watch the whole thing. I'm going to skip through it, but... All right, let's pull it up.
President Donald J. Trump. President Trump,
this happened just
Thanks
a few
for joining
hours
us
ago.
This morning.
Well, thank you very much, Joe.
You are very welcome. Can you give us, I think it's on everyone's mind, the latest on where the Iran negotiations stand? We now know Tehran has publicly confirmed that it will send representatives to the meeting with Vice President Vance. What do you expect? What are you hearing at this point, sir?
Well, as I said 2 days ago when they said they won't send them, I said they'll be sending them. They have no choice but to send them. What I think is that we're going to end up with a great deal. I think they have no choice. We've taken out their Navy. We've taken out their Air Force.
Hold on, folks. Yes, are you a Trump supporter? Hold on one second. Can't hear you. Bueller. What happened there? What did I do? What? Hold on a second. Oh, sorry. All right. Are you a Trump supporter? No, I just fucking... Let's see who this person.
Hello?
Sambo, are you a Trump supporter? Hey, dude, I just wanted to let you
Yeah.
know that I got this number, and I'm going to absolutely work endlessly tonight to disrupt your entire life. See you soon. I got him. I got this kid. This is going to be an absolute delight. This is going to be a delight. Oh, boy, do I love it. Let's call this one. Don't take your phone off the hook, sweetheart. Don't take your phone off the hook. Honey. I don't appreciate that. Sometimes you got to fight back, you know what I mean? Sometimes you got to shake it up a little bit. Yes, old spaz. Yes, I am. I am old spaz. What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it, old spaz? Bro's like, are you calling someone back who's been spamming your phone? That's not fair. Trump supporters are literally the funniest victims like in the world, dude. They're the funniest victims. They will literally do shit to bother you, and then when you retaliate, they'll be like, are you retaliating against my bigotry? It's like the dude that dropped the N-word. It's like the dude who dropped the N-word. I changed that dude. Legitimately changed him. And Trump supporters were in the chat like, that's not fair. He was just dropping an N slur. Like, that's not a big deal, dude. Yes, are you a Trump supporter?
I sort of was, but
How old are you?
how are you doing?
How old are you?
I'm 18.
I mean, that's kind of young, but I'll give you a shot. What's up?
Nothing much. Just thought I'd call in, and I want to give a better idea as to why the Iran war isn't completely just a ill-advised war.
No, it is. But it's not just, beyond ill-advised? I would say beyond ill-advised, it's Donald Trump trying to change the headlines. Part of it is, an end run on our intelligence agencies for sure, though.
Okay, so what I think is the reason we kidnapped leader of Venezuela, and this is a reason why we're at this war, so that we have their oil supply now. We have full control over it, and I think, personally, the reason why we actually bombed the one area, I forget what it's called, but it's between Iran and China so that they can't get that oil anymore. So it's actually to stop the communist countries from being able to power their military with the amount of fuel they need, so that we actually have a deeper way of weakening our enemies.
Yeah, so this is the new argument from Republicans, and I can debunk it pretty quickly, I think, hopefully. So can you tell me, is regime change required for what you're talking about? Obviously, yes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Has Donald Trump said regime change has already occurred?
Yes.
Okay. If Donald Trump says regime change has already occurred and they're not doing anything militarily to enforce regime change, how can that be a goal of... How can that be an objective? I mean, you would have to argue they're not actually negotiating right now to ensure they don't enrich uranium to weapons grade or opening the Strait of Hormuz. They want that negotiation to fail because ultimately they're going to, put boots on the ground and force regime change? Like, regime change has to be a part of the equation if the goal is what you're saying.
And it is.
How do you know that, though?
Because we've been putting new people into power throughout Iran over the past
That's not true.
2 months.
No, we haven't. Who's in charge right now?
I think it's the one guy we killed. I forget the first guy we killed. I forget his name. It's his... I think his son.
The son, right. So the son is currently in power, and is the son more or less radical than the father? I mean, it doesn't even matter. Is equally as radical, you would agree, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so understanding equally as radical, what does that do to enforce regime change? Like, because here's what I'll tell you, dude. He's actually more radical. He's an IRGC hardline radical murders protesters guy, right? Like he's worse. So you've actually put someone younger and more capable.
That's what the first leader did.
Right. So did he, though. The son has been involved in this stuff all along. They've been grooming him to take over.
I understand that.
And so what I'm saying is, if you kill the supreme leader and the son becomes the supreme leader, and then you say, okay, we've accomplished regime change, and Donald Trump just said the other day again, regime change is not a part of our goal. How do you know it's a part of the goal? Clearly, they're not doing anything militarily to force regime change. What are they doing? Like, how do you know this? Did Trump tell you this or something?
No.
That's what I'm saying. I'm just curious how you know this. You don't know this. Here's the thing, dude. And this, I'm not insulting you. I'm saying this because I think this is legitimately what you're trying to do. You're trying to make sense of something that's nonsensical. You're trying to make sense of a conflict that makes no sense. And because you realize, even as a young man, that the objectives are ridiculous, right? And are not at least would you agree there is no nuclear threat?
Oh yeah, I would. Yes.
Right. So you're like halfway there, right? You understand that this isn't a legitimate hostility defense. This idea that they're in possession of nuclear weapons for a number of reasons. One being Donald Trump conducted a military operation in the summer of 2025, claimed that operation was a success, claimed he obliterated their capabilities, and then claimed it was an objective just months later. Right. Prior to that, he tore up a diplomatic agreement, claimed he could negotiate a better one, which makes it all that much worse. But furthermore, Benjamin Netanyahu's been saying the same thing for 35 years about Iran being in possession of nuclear deployment capabilities. So obviously that's not true. So what you're trying to do, understanding that, is tell yourself there must be another reason he's doing this because it's so incredibly ridiculous. I'm here to tell you there is no other reason. I mean, there's a few different reasons, but not related to what you're talking about. Nothing logical to advance the interests of the American taxpayer.
Okay.
You understand?
So then why did we... yeah. But why did we bomb Karg Island then?
Why did we bomb Karg Island? What does Karg Island have to do with regime change?
Well, it has to do with the part of this war.
Yeah, but what does it have to do with regime change? It has to do with opening the Strait of Hormuz. What about regime change? That didn't have anything to do with regime change. No, it didn't. Had nothing to do with regime change. What have we done militarily to enforce regime change?
Been trying our best to put new people into power.
Who did we put into power?
Saddam, I think Saddam Hussein's son. But I'm almost certain. Correct me if I'm wrong.
You're
pretty
completely
sure trying to get
wrong.
him out too.
You're completely wrong. You have no idea what you're talking about. This did you concede the son, the Ayatollah, is in power? Do you understand our intelligence agencies have already stated the regime is up and running? This isn't to be disputed. Trump just said 2 days ago, we're not doing regime change. We're not interested in regime change. It causes chaos. You're simply arguing something you can't substantiate.
Okay.
Where do you get your information from, son?
I get it just anywhere. I'll search up updates on the war, but I was just putting in what I feel.
I understand, but where do you get your information from?
Countless different news sources.
Okay, I want you to tell me where specifically you've gotten this theory, though. You read it somewhere. And by the way, I'm getting it from tons of Republicans, and every single one comes up doesn't have any actual proof to substantiate it's an objective of the conflict. It's merely a theory, this idea that Trump is playing 4D chess. Where the hell are you reading this from?
I want to say I got it from Fox.
That sounds about right.
And
No, this would be more like Twitter. Do you get stuff off Twitter?
I don't have Twitter. I don't really use Twitter.
Do you read anything else online, like similar to Twitter, Reddit, or any of those kind of websites?
I go on like Instagram. I'll read through. There's a guy on Instagram. His name is Wall. He puts up some interesting posts.
All I would say, man, is
I look at.
All I would say is, man, like you're halfway to like realizing this war is idiotic, but you're not willing to admit it because you still think Trump is a genius. That's what we're dealing with here. This is why you're here. You think Trump is smart. You're discounting his incompetence. Here's what I would encourage you to do. Number one, I would encourage you to go research or watch the House Intel Committee hearing and listen to what our intelligence agencies said about this war, specifically Tulsi Gabbard. Okay? And then I would pay more attention to what Donald Trump is saying on a daily basis. I don't think you fully understand what he's saying on a daily basis. That contradicts your entire point. And number three, I'd focus on what militarily he's doing to advance the interests of the American taxpayer. And if you keep track of these things, you'll realize he's just trying to get out of a conflict that was a mistake to start with. He's trying to get out of an invasion he should have never been involved with from the beginning. That's it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't fully agree with him at all. If I'm being honest, I've started really having a decline on why I
get it. You're not a lost cause, dude. You're not, because you're trying to think critically. I just think you're young and you want to believe that Trump is something that he's not. And all I would say is, you know, I hate to tell you, man, but he's that person. And this isn't for the interests of the American taxpayer. It's not some 4D chess game. By the way, we could talk about how incredibly stupid that would be anyway, right? To risk all of this, right? Like, think about the potential consequences. Weigh the consequences here. Like, would you be okay with a president lying to the American public about the actual objective of this war? I don't think that we as an American people should support the government lying to us about invading another country for their own, like, reasons. Like, oh, I'm going to tell the public it's about nuclear deployment, but it's secretly I'm trying to, like, weaken our adversaries. Like, what? Why wouldn't he just tell us that? Why would that have to be a secret? It makes us sound like more of a bad guy when you consider the fact that we killed a bunch of schoolgirls as a part of the initial decapitation strikes.
I was so pissed. I was so pissed at that, if I'm being honest.
Wow.
That really pissed me off, that whole situation, and that's a reason I really do wish we would have just stayed how we were. When he first came in, everything seemed pretty all right. I mean, gas prices were fair; they were around $2.50, and inflation had went down a little bit, and the economy was actually doing pretty all right. But since then, I haven't really been too proud of it.
Yeah, so Biden's economy, yeah, absolutely, I would agree with you. But Trump has been a complete disaster from the very beginning. And part of the reason, too, I would really encourage you to consider this is the Epstein files. I know it sounds super basic in terms of why we're there, but I think a strong component here is the fact that Donald Trump was being exposed in the Epstein files. The Department of Justice and their actions, withholding information. I mean, Pam Bondi was going to be fired in January because Donald Trump was so upset about that dominating the headlines. Don't you think that, like, have you ever considered the idea that maybe, just maybe, what you're looking for when you, because you're at least understanding that the objectives are not realistic. So did you ever consider maybe he's doing that, trying to change the headlines?
I haven't really thought in that aspect.
Yeah.
No.
So I would encourage you to think about that a little bit more, because you're not wrong. The objectives absolutely are not credible. That part you're right about. But I don't think you're right about this super secret plan to weaken our adversaries and strengthen the United States. But thanks for calling in, dude. Appreciate it.
Of course. One last question, if you don't mind me asking.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Are you like a Democrat, Republican, Independent?
None. I am not a Democrat, Republican, or Independent. I don't think belonging to a political party is what we need right now. I do vote with Democrats. I would vote with Democrats, every day than vote with Republicans. Republicans have a serious issue ideologically, and we could have a different conversation about that if you want. But no, I'm definitely on the left, but I wouldn't identify as a Democrat. I'm very critical of Democrats also. All
right. Yeah, no, just curious. I'm on a sort of a time crunch. I just thought I'd call in. And
there is up to get torn up as Republicans are. I tear them up equally, so.
Mm-hmm.
But I would just argue that voting Democrat right now is a far better strategy for dismantling the current system than voting Republican, as Republicans are trying to consolidate government to the executive branch, making it far more difficult to dismantle the current system. All right?
Yeah.
We'll talk again.
All righty.
All right, dude. Take care.
Take care.
And somebody in chat said Andrew ain't scared of Ish, but to say Biden did anything is crazy. Wait, what? Just call in. Biden did what? What do you mean? No, I think he was just referring to, like, the economy. I mean, the economy doing well in the first couple months, or, wouldn't be a result of any, like, Trump policies, is what I was saying. Guys, really quick, listen to this comment. This is funny as hell, bro. Hold on, guys. Hold on.
Call from
James.
James, what's going on? How old are you?
16.
James, you're a little young, man. You got to be 18. Thanks for calling in, though. I appreciate it.
Call from
Yo.
Yeah, you're too young, too. So too young. Guys, let me do something really quick here, okay? This is the funniest comment we've gotten so far today, and I have to read it. This is hilarious. Dish says, "Yo, I'm English. Behave yourself with your high horse. Stop controlling the convos." let's see. What's this person's name, dude? I love little weirdos like this. I think it's fascinating. Dej here with the little Squirtle profile picture. SYBAU Muppet. All right? Troglodyte. Guys, yeah, you're always going to get little kids pranking shows. It's just an unfortunate reality, but what we do is we try and find adults in the process. That's what we do. Yes, are you a Trump supporter?
I'm too young. Call from
Sean.
Sean, what's going on? At least that kid recognized it and didn't. All right, what's going on, Sean? Are you a Trump supporter?
Kind of, sort of. You could say that.
Okay.
I guess the main reason why I'm calling is...
Well, who'd you vote for? First, we have to establish who you are, right? So who did you vote for?
Okay. I did a provisionary ballot. I don't even know if it counted, but it was for Trump.
Who did you vote? Okay.
Trump.
Thank you. That's all I need you to say. You just seem very hesitant to admit that. It's kind of, yeah. All right, go ahead.
Another point I was going to say was, obviously he's been not meeting his goals, but if he would have, would you be in favor of what he's doing?
That's a good question. So let's talk about it depends on what goal you're talking about. So here
okay.
This is a different kind of a conversation, right? But I'm okay with having it. So this is going to be a conversation that involves talking about whether or not Iran should have a nuclear weapon like other countries should have a nuclear weapon.
Let's start with the China. Let's start with the China tariffs. What do you think he did with that? Do you approve of that or not?
Are we talking about the war in Iran?
Hopefully we can do everything that he's done.
No, we're talking about the war in Iran specifically right now. I thought you were talking about the war in Iran, so never mind. That wasn't a good question. I take it back.
Okay, so
no,
the war
is done, but for the war in Iran specifically, do I support specific to the war in Iran? I don't think Iran should have a nuclear weapon like I don't think one should have a nuclear weapon. But my argument, related to this is I think that the United States needs to start looking at themselves in the mirror and stop trying to bomb countries into submission. And then maybe countries won't be as likely to try and develop weaponry such as nuclear deployment capabilities to defend their sovereignty, right? Like, I think if you were, like, we were in the middle of negotiations during this conflict. We abandoned those negotiations to attack them. So did we incentivize them to want to develop this type of weapon? No. Or, like, I don't think we discouraged them.
They already did not like us.
Do you understand why?
Well, it could be the same exact thing that's going on now from different presidents and administrations, but you have to understand if they had much more power than what they have now, they would have done the same thing to us a long time ago. And what would your stance be then? You would hate every single bit of them.
Well, here's the problem, right? So you do believe that they've had these capabilities or the ability to develop them, or you don't?
Because, no, they don't. I said if.
So has Benjamin Netanyahu been lying for the last 40 years?
I can't answer that. I'm not that knowledgeable.
Well, we've run into a problem because this is a narrative he's been perpetuating for decades. And that's part of the reason I don't buy into this U.S.-Israeli propaganda about Iranian nuclear development. I think there's credibility to the idea that they want a civilian nuclear program, but saying death to America, which is literally the only thing they've ever presented as actual proof that they want to hurt the United States, for me, is not enough to conduct decapitation strikes. I would say the United States has conducted endless bombing in the Middle East, and it's no surprise countries would want to possess these types of weapons to defend their their nation. I don't think they have any interest in attacking us specifically, right? Like,
they've said death to USA several times.
So who's more of a
publicly.
threat? Who's more of a threat? Them saying death to America or Israel committing genocide?
I don't like either one of them. I
asked you a question. Who's more of a threat to humanity? Iran saying death to America or Israel committing genocide and systematically oppressing the Palestinian people? Do you know what percentage of the population in Palestine are children?
I don't.
Almost 50% are under the age of 18. And they have annihilated this population.
Well, that comes with the territory of...
Really? Children comes with the territory? Now,
if any country is going to be 50% kids, then of course something is going to happen to the kids if something happens to that country.
Well, I'm glad you said that. So now is Iran justified in bombing our children here?
I don't agree with the war that's going on over there. I think
Sir, hold on a second. I want you to answer this. You just made a statement that that's a part of the game, right? Would Iran be justified conducting strikes against us here at home on an educational institution because we did as a part of our initial strikes? And would we have to say, well, that's just fair game, or would you be advocating to annihilate their entire nation, regardless of any kind of human life, consideration for human life?
Anybody would if something happened,
but why?
after the fact.
Why is it okay for us to feel that way in response to someone doing something to us, right? But when we bomb a country and hit a preschool and kill a bunch of schoolgirls, that's just a part of the game. Do you see how you look at these two differently? That's what I'm trying to explain to you. Hold on, sir. Sir, that's what I'm trying to explain to you. Listen to me. Don't be defensive here. Accept what I'm saying to you. That's what I'm trying to get you to understand. It's no surprise that countries say death to America. Now, do I think the regime is evil? Do I think the regime commits human rights violations against their own people? Yes, but I'm just trying to get a surface level understanding so you understand them saying death to America is not justification alone for decapitation strikes. Whether or not they possess nuclear weapons is a separate conversation. But I ultimately do not think they have any intention to use them against the United States.
They're going to turn into a North Korea if they already are, if they're not already.
So are you saying North Korea is equally as dangerous to the United States?
They're going to be the same type of country. And if they were allowed to progress with their nuclear,
let's just be clear. Nuclear is not a word. It's nuclear.
Well, right. Nuclear. Right. If they were allowed to carry on with all of that, you never know what that could evolve into.
That's right. You never know.
You never know if one day we could get into a World War III, and all of these little countries like Iran or other countries, they decide to all join up, and they all decide to join up with Russia or somebody.
Yeah,
and then they could be a problem.
But this is all okay. So the idea that could happen, right, based off absolutely nothing, just your speculation. What makes them any more dangerous than any of these other countries that possess these capabilities? Should we be attacking North Korea? North Korea
it's their anger towards and it's also part of their religion.
Do you think
is what else I was going to bring up?
Well,
these people, you got the Israel, and I call them Jews. That's what they are. I know you don't like them being called that, but that's what they are.
It's not that I don't like them being called that. It's that I am critical of the Israeli government. I don't have a specific issue with Jewish people. And I actually think Benjamin Netanyahu's agenda and his genocidal tactics actually endanger Jewish people more than anything. But that's besides the point. Israel, you won't even accept that Israel is the problem here. I'm arguing Israel is the imminent threat. Please stop taking us off topic here. Here's the point.
Their religion
makes North Korea less dangerous than Iran? Kim Jong-un regularly threatens the West with nuclear deployment capabilities, right?
Yes.
They commit human rights violations against their own people, right?
More than that, yes.
They have concentration camps and so on, correct. So what makes them any different? I would argue North Korea is equally as dangerous. Now, if you're
Who's more powerful? Who is more dangerous? Right.
Right. But
and you never know. I mean, what you don't have in North Korea is religion backing all of their of what they do. What you have in the Middle East is simply a holy war, and then you have somebody like Trump, which in his picture, he did not draw that picture. He's not the artist of it.
You love.
I don't like that.
You pivot around to a bunch of topics, but did you think that he was portraying him? Just. I normally don't like pivots, but let me just respond to what you just said. So you don't think he was trying to portray himself as Jesus in that picture, sir? Are you this indoctrinated?
I think there's millions and millions of Trump supporters, and some of them or a few of them may have been an artist, and threw that picture in front of the guy and said, "Hey, what do you think of this?" And he was probably drinking on a beer or something and got a laugh and say, "Yeah, I like that," or something like that. He's having a holy war, and his goal is he wanted to end it on the American Easter and say, "Oh, we've obliterated Iran on Easter."
Sir.
And yes.
Do you think You think someone sat down late at night and painted this photo for Trump?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Trump did not draw that himself.
Sir.
I don't even think he directed something yet. Yes.
It's AI.
Okay, well,
it's AI.
Somebody
No, it's AI.
Programmed AI.
Trump could literally type in AI, "Me as Jesus," and it would make this picture. Nobody sat down and painted this.
I think somebody gave him the idea. I think he's too old to even really know what AI really even is.
No.
I think somebody generated that picture, whether it's AI or not, said, "Hey, what do you..." Put it on his desk. What do you think of this? And he consulted with Dr. Oz and whoever else while they were approving LSD and shrooms, and say, "Yeah, I like this." And the other thing is, I think this could really all boil down to gas price. And I think that he might be profiting through gas, because all he's doing now is extending the ceasefire, and that just means he's extending the high gas price.
Okay.
That's all he's doing.
So listen, you're a little weirdo. Listen, so number one, Trump absolutely knows what AI is, okay? His administration has signed executive orders, okay, like linking to artificial intelligence, okay? He absolutely has talked about AI multiple different times as a competitive priority. So to say he doesn't know that it exists is absurd. The point is, he posted it because he thought it was okay to depict himself as Jesus, and this demonstrates a pattern of cognitive decline. That's the argument. Okay.
Okay. So let me ask you this, and I don't mean to cut you off.
Do you think Trump is in cognitive decline?
Do you think Joe Biden was? Joe Biden couldn't even form a sentence.
Joe Biden was? Dude, why do you
Joe
guys
Biden
always
couldn't even form a sentence?
Why do you guys always do shit like this? Why do you bring up Biden in every conversation about Trump?
Because those were the options.
Just have a conversation
those
about
were the
Trump
options to vote
Biden.
for. What other option? What other realistic options were there?
Biden didn't run.
Okay, so then you have Kamala Harris. You have a black woman in a racist world. You have a black woman.
Why are you saying black like that?
You have a African American
black. Why are you saying black like that? Well, it's not funny. You're weird.
Okay. You have an African American woman in a racist
No, you can say black.
planet Earth.
It's the way
She does not gonna like.
Stop talking. Jesus Christ. Do you live alone?
Yes, sir. I'm proud of it.
I'm not fucking surprised. So first of all, I'm saying,
hey, no. I do really good.
Shut up. Holy fuck. So number one, you can say black. It's the way that you're saying it. The point is, you said we didn't have any other option. That's why I brought up Joe Biden. Joe Biden didn't run this last election. So bringing up Joe Biden.
He started it, and then he backed out.
Bringing up Joe Biden in this conversation is weird and unrelated.
Totally related. And the only reason I voted for Trump is because I'm a stock market guy, and I thought he would have presented opportunities to buy.
I can't take this dude pivoting again. I can't. You can't even finish the topic you're on before he pivots. Do you know that conversation started with Iran, and then it pivoted to tariffs, then it pivoted to this, then it pivoted. You can't. If you're not absorbing what I'm saying, then there's no point in me talking to you, right? By the way, MAGA in the chat, can I just say how much I love watching you cry? And by the way, Dion, don't tell me what to do in my own live, you little creep. But I love watching MAGA cry. He definitely was drunk. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna grab my drink really quick. Let's check if this is a Trump supporter before we go, and we'll put him on hold to wait really quick. Are you a Trump supporter?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm putting you on hold. Hold on 1 second, everybody. Guys, I would appreciate if you are new here, hitting the thumbs up button. Make sure you are subscribed. It is free to hit the subscribe button. We're almost at 20,000 followers. We just started on YouTube recently. We come from TikTok, but obviously trying to build other platforms. Jay Garzilla, thank you for the $4.99 super chat. And Michelle, thank you for the $5 on Venmo, says, what about Biden? Oh, God, it's so annoying, isn't it? Give me 1 second. You guys know what song is an absolute banger? That fucking your government is run by PDF files. Yeah, they love me. MAGA definitely loves me. You're right, Milagro. They've been in love with me for a long time. They've been in love with me for a long time. Guys, if you think the maggots are in love with me, type a 1 in the chat. If you think it's like a love-hate kind of thing, I've been wondering this. Is it a love and hate kind of thing? Do they secretly love me? And it's not really hate? I don't know. Let's see. Yes, sir. Are you a Trump supporter?
Yes, sir.
A little kid. What a shock. Let's call this guy back.
Hello?
Yes, are you a Trump supporter?
Yo, do you remember this because yesterday?
No, I don't.
Like,
Stop
I'm gonna hang
calling.
up. Now I don't give a fuck. You ain't gonna do shit.
Shut up. You ain't gonna do shit. You ain't gonna do shit but watch, Muppet. That's all you're gonna do. You're going to sit and watch. Stop calling my stream. Do you guys think that song is a banger, though? Your government is run by pedophiles. They ordered you to die for Israel. Do you guys love that? That song is a banger. I'm going to be blasting that song all summer long, baby. Anytime I see a MAGA group, I'm going to start blasting that song. It's an absolute banger. Oregon, stop calling me. Wilsonville, Oregon. Don't call me anymore. You're not old enough to have these conversations. I know, I've had it stuck in my head too. Can we get an adult in the chat, please?
Justino.
Bro, you call me again, I'm calling your mom. All right? Test me. Test me. Ask David. Tell him what happened when I called his mom. He's permanently grounded, she told me. Jessica, thank you so much for the Venmo. Says, a true American patriot. Antifa salutes you. Thank you so much, Jessica. I know I am a true American patriot.
Call from
I know
Warren.
it. What's up, dude? Are you a Trump supporter?
To accept, press 1.
What's up, dude? Are you a Trump supporter?
Yes.
Okay, and just real quick to get a surface level understanding of what kind of a Trump supporter you are. How did you feel when Donald Trump posted himself as Jesus Christ? Did you think that was blasphemous?
No, I thought he was fucking around.
Okay, but do you think it's blasphemy to mock the divine?
No, I don't think he was mocking the divine.
I want you to look on my screen really quick. Let's reevaluate this really quick. I want you to go back, look at the screen right now, and look and see. You see a picture.
I saw the picture.
All right, let's go through it. So Donald Trump said that it was a Red Cross doctor. Do you believe that's true, or do you believe he was lying and just fucking around?
I believe he was lying and fucking around.
So he lied about, why didn't he just say he was screwing around? Why did he try and say he was trying to portray himself as a Red Cross doctor?
Because he knows the Democrats will hang on to every word and it'll make him go crazy.
Then why did he take it down?
Because he probably thought it wasn't a good idea to impersonate Jesus.
So you mean he recognized that he fucked up?
Probably with the impersonation.
So then you would concede he fucked up because it's blasphemous? Which was
no,
my
he didn't fuck
argument.
up. He just made a bad joke. And then he reposted himself with Jesus next to him.
Why is it a bad joke?
Because he's like pretending he's Jesus or something.
Why is
just
that
to
bad?
fuck with the Pope.
Why is that bad?
Because it could be offensive to Christians.
Why?
Because he's the president and whatever he says is
I don't think it has to do with him being the president. I think if Joe Biden did that or I did that, it would be equally as offensive. Why, though?
Bro, you say things that are a million times more offensive than that every day.
All right, give me an example. What's the most offensive? What's the most offensive thing you've ever heard me say?
Israel's committing a genocide.
They are committing a genocide, bro.
Right. So yeah, it's blasphemy, bro.
So wait, you're saying me saying Israel is committing a genocide is more offensive than Donald Trump portraying himself as Jesus?
Yeah.
But what I'm
saying,
but Israel, but here's the difference. Israel is committing a genocide and Donald Trump isn't Jesus. I'm just telling the truth.
What's the ratio of Hamas to civilians that are killed in Israel?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Right, it's about 1.2, 1.3 to 1.
Wait, that's
not a genocide. It's called collateral damage, buddy.
Wait, okay, so tell me really quick, what is genocide?
Genocide is like the intent to ethnically cleanse a population, something like that.
No, but how do you conduct genocide? Like, what specifically do? You do what systematically?
I think, I don't know, kill a type of person or something, kill a type of religion, kill a type of race, kill a type of ethnicity.
Would you say like a tenet of genocide would be like making it so you can't live there, like destroying living, imposing deadly living conditions, right? Let me give you an example.
No, that's called war.
No,
And
that's
Egypt
a
has a border
core element.
too.
That is not war.
And Egypt has a border
Excuse
too, and
me.
they won't open the border.
Imposing deadly living conditions for civilians is not war. That is a core element of genocide.
Yes, it is.
It is a core. No, it is not. You don't know what
They're
you're talking
trapped
about.
in there because Egypt won't open the border.
You have no idea what you're talking about. So specifically,
You have no idea. How do I have no idea what I'm talking
you don't know what genocide is. You can't even define it.
Bro, you're making up what genocide is.
Okay, so guys,
'Cause
let's
it
look
suits
this
your
up really
narrative
quick.
for hating Jews and
Hold on, guys.
Israel.
Let's look this up. What are core elements of genocide? Okay, let's look it up.
Good idea. Good idea.
I'm going to look it up.
You'll actually learn something.
I know. You're about to get embarrassed, and this, by the way, is the 1948 UN Genocide Convention. So let's read this here. Hold on, guys. Hold on. Let's see here. Let's see. See if I can find one. Okay, I'm going to give you a few. You ready?
Yep.
Here's a few, okay?
5
acts, like mass killing, making conditions unlivable, causing severe harm, blocking births, or forcibly taking children. What specifically is the intent of these specific elements?
Everything you said could be applied to any war in history.
Wait. Do you know that?
So
I'm going to give you. I'm going to prove you wrong right now. So let's talk about the Ukraine and Russia war. Vladimir Putin specifically forcibly relocated Ukrainian children to Russian occupied territory. Was that considered a war crime by an international court?
I don't really know. I haven't heard about
it. It was. Do you know why?
Why?
Because it's a tenet of genocide. You cannot forcibly relocate children. So displacement, for instance, is a tenet of genocide. You don't know what.
That doesn't make any sense.
So, for instance, all right, I'll give you another example. Let's talk about the Holocaust.
No, let me ask you a question. You got to talk.
Let's talk about the Holocaust.
Let me ask you one question.
You don't know what genocide is, bro.
You guys make up your own terms of what genocide is.
Okay, so why don't you Google it
right? It's an apartheid state. It's a genocide.
Yeah, it is an apartheid state.
It's that. That's the new
What's an apartheid state? Can you tell me? What's an apartheid state? Do you know?
If it's an apartheid state, why are there 2 million Arabs living in Israel?
Is it an apartheid state or no? Are they systematically oppressed? Yes or no?
Systematically oppressed. I mean, maybe for national security reasons.
Oh my God! You have to be a troll. There's no way you're fucking. There's no fucking way you're real. Okay, so hold on, really quick. Can you tell me what the bulldozers are for? Just curious.
If 70% of the buildings are destroyed, why aren't 70% of the people killed?
Can you answer the question?
What bulldozers are for? Where?
The bulldozers that Israel uses. What are they for? If you're not familiar with the bulldozers, you're just not equipped to have this conversation. Do you know anything about like the Human Rights Council commissions? Right,
yeah,
that alleged that Israel. So I'm just wondering, did you ever read like that they alleged Israel committed 4 genocidal acts in Gaza? Killing, harm, life conditions, and destruction, and birth prevention, by the way. Citing over 64,000 deaths, aid blocks.
And how many of those were Hamas? How many of those were Hamas?
They weren't Hamas. These are civilians. We're talking about civilians. Do you know how many human
Really?
rights
'Cause-
groups? Do you know how many human
'Cause the
rights
Hamas-
groups have echoed the
Hamas
same
said that
claims?
72,000 people
So wait,
died.
hold on. Do you,
So where are
I
you getting
know that's
64,000
the
civilians?
Zionist. That's the Zionist tactic, guys. Right? That's the Zionist tactic. With
Oh,
they're
Hamas's
Hamas at
numbers are
7 years
Zionist
old.
tactic?
We're talking about children. You fucking moron.
Oh, so
You're an
64,000
idiot. You don't know what genocide is, and it's fucking embarrassing. Remember, this guy's original statement was making conditions unlivable is not a tenet of genocide. And then when I pulled up specifically that that's an act that qualifies as genocide, this guy just completely moved on. You should really look up what genocide is before you argue it's not a genocide. Israel is committing a genocide. Israel is systematically oppressing the Palestinian people. Israel is systematically killing the Palestinian people. You know why you can't answer what the bulldozers are for? Because you don't know what you're talking about. Now, we got to address a really important point here for everybody in the chat, because we got a lot of Trump supporters in the chat right now, right? You guys don't know the difference between your and your, okay? So number one, YOU''RE is a contraction. Jeremy, thank you so much for the $9.99 super chat. Appreciate you, Jeremy. Not another one. This guy needs a dictionary. He needs a fucking life lesson. He's a complete idiot.
Call from.
Yes, are you a Trump supporter?
Yes.
Okay, and you're 5, so
Call
you can't
from.
call. Are you a Trump supporter?
Yes, I am.
Okay, do you support the war in Iran? Wait, before I say that, let me finish this really quick, because I need to give Trump supporters a little lesson here. I think it's very important. So the first thing I have to do with Trump supporters here, all right, is I want you guys to understand, I always know that you're a Trump supporter when you can't spell, and you don't know what a contraction is, okay? Apostrophe R-E. Apostrophe R-E. Okay, this is an example of a contraction, what we refer to in the English language as a contraction, combining two words, you are. So I want you to say it in your head first. You are dumb. You are this, and then your insult, right? I want you to say it in your head first. And if it doesn't make sense, then you'll know to use the other one, okay? Are you a Trump supporter?
Yes, I am.
Why do Trump supporters watch me? I don't know. They just love watching me. That's what they do. So real quick, just to get a surface level understanding of what kind of Trump supporter you are. And by the way, how old are you?
I'm 23.
All right. Just to get a surface level understanding of what kind of Trump supporter you are. Did you have a problem with Donald Trump depicting himself as Jesus?
No, I don't really care. It was facetious. I'm coming up to engage with what you said last time. Where do human rights come from, though?
It depends. But wait, you're coming up to say what I engaged last time. What do you mean? Are you saying it's not? What are you referring to specifically? You don't tell me.
Yeah, so the last conversation, you were saying a human right violation. Is it the case that society determines?
Are the Israeli people systematically oppressing the Palestinian people?
Systematically, that's just going to be based off of preference here.
Are they
it's human rights.
systematically oppressing the Palestinian people, yes or no?
That's based off of preference.
Listen, Zionists, you're not going to escape the question.
I'm sorry that you can't debate.
Are they
it's fine.
systematically oppressed? No, you're just a Zionist cuck, and I don't want
Define
your fucking
Zionist
slop.
real quick.
I don't want your slop on my
Define
fucking
Zionist
page, you
real
fucking
quick.
cuck. Can you tell me
I'm
really
not
quick,
a cuck.
are
I'm not
they
a Destiny.
systematically oppressing the Palestinian people?
Yeah, what
or
do you
not?
mean by systematic?
He won't answer. He won't answer because he's a Zionist cuck. That's why. And I don't want your slop on my page. So if you're a Trump supporter, you can come up. It's not up for debate. It's not up for debate. They systematically oppress the Palestinian people because they are an apartheid state. Don't call me back again, you cuck. If you can't answer that simple question, it's because you know it is absolutely a genocide. And you can't dispute it. You can't dispute it. Ruben, you used the wrong Ruben. Look, the Zionist is triggered. You're never getting through, Zionist. I gave you 3 chances to answer the question, and you didn't answer. You wouldn't answer because it proves the point. So that right there tells me you're a disingenuous Zionist cuck, and I don't want your Zionist slop on my platform, cuck. It's that simple. It's that simple, and there's nothing you can do about it. That's what makes it so much better. There's nothing he can do. Look, he's having a temper tantrum, spamming the phone. You're never going to be able to call in. I'm never going to let you spam your Zionist cuck slop on my page. Are you a Trump supporter?
I'm watching you live right now, man. Fuck Trump.
Yeah, fuck Trump. And fuck Israel, too, by the way.
Yeah, fuck them Jews, man. Kill all of them.
All right, I think you went a little too far, bro, but
take it.
Jesus Christ. We can't advocate for genocide while they're committing genocide. Listen, Zionists, keep crying in the chat. It's never going to change. It's forever going to remain the same. Yes, are you a Trump supporter?
Yes. Sorry.
Bro really wanted to debate whether or not Palestinians have human rights. That was his argument. Because, of course, he's a POS Zionist cuck. Are you a Trump supporter?
Yes, or I used to be.
All right, real quick, just to get a surface level understanding of what kind of Trump supporter you are. Were you outraged by Donald Trump depicting himself as Jesus?
I wouldn't say outraged, but I was against it.
You can always tell who's new here. You can always tell who's new here by the chat. So you were against it. Okay, I'm just saying, do you think it represents a pattern of a cognitive decline?
I don't think he's cognitively declining. I think he's, controlled by the Israel lobby and is kind of going a little crazy because of that.
Well, he is, but this isn't relevant to that. He's absolutely controlled by the American-Israeli pact, and he obviously receives a bunch of money from them, but that's besides the point. I was just trying to get a good understanding of what kind of Trump supporter you are, because a lot of them will defend him on every single issue. So before we get into the topic, which is the war in Iran, I wanted I want to understand where you're willing to go in the conversation. So do you support the war in Iran or no?
No, I'd probably agree with you on the war in Iran.
Well, then how do you still support Trump, dude?
I don't know if I'd... Okay, so we're on complete different sides politically, I would assume, me and you, just because of the kind of language I've heard you using. But I support Trump basically for domestic reasons, mostly mass deportations, though he's kind of backtracked on that.
What do you mean?
Well, he took out Greg Bovino from the from his position.
I was there in Minnesota when that all went down, and I can tell you that it's not necessarily him backtracking. It's more or less Bovino was drawing way too much negative attention to the headlines, but the policy is very similar. ICE is operating using similar tactics. They haven't really changed the tactics they're using.
I disagree with ICE's tactics, but purely for optical reasons.
Okay.
I'm for mass deportations, but I think it should be done basically through making it illegal to employ illegals and prosecuting businesses that hire them, and also making it illegal for banks to open accounts for them, things like that.
So can you just tell me really quick, what specific consequence of undocumented immigration do you think justifies mass deportation as a whole? Because I would argue mass amnesty is a far more better policy. You have a lot of background noise. I don't know what's going on there, but I typically advocate for mass amnesty. So specifically, what justifies mass deportation just as a policy? Generally speaking, what are undocumented immigrants doing fiscally or otherwise that justifies mass removal in that way? And I'll also tell you, dude, Agenda 47 quite literally talked about how specifically he was going to conduct this deportation operation. It wasn't a secret, right? We knew what it was prior to him getting elected. So it's not like you supported mass deportation and didn't know how he was going to do it.
No, I knew what was going to happen, but I voted for him because the other option was not better deportations. It was mass amnesty, which is what we would have gotten likely under a Democrat administration. But your question was, sorry, what was your question?
Mike, My question was what specific consequence of undocumented immigrants justifies mass deportation? Because the issue I have when we have these conversations is people can't legitimately describe what the consequences are that would justify the consequences of these policies.
Yeah. So, an increase in the labor force suppresses worker pay. That's been documented in many studies and also just anecdotally. Like the reason farm workers are paid basically nothing is because you can import people who work for $10 an hour for 12 hours a day. And I mean, that's in many industries. And then not just the suppression of wages, but also crime. Even if there are some studies that say undocumented immigrants commit less crime than Americans, but that's only because the vast majority of crime in America is committed in inner cities by generally African American populations.
Sure.
And so if you compare undocumented immigrants to the white population in America, they commit much more crime. And so,
that's not true.
And also, that it is true.
It's not.
And
we'll go over
libertarian institutes that support mass immigration and amnesty, like the Cato Institute, have admitted that.
Nope. So we'll explain. So first of all, number one, it's not even close when it comes to crime comparatively. Undocumented immigrants, specifically regarding violent crime, commit much less than American-born citizens. The first thing, though, you talked about.
That's only if you include Black
Hold on
Americans.
really quick. You talked about wages. I don't know if you've read any recent studies, but there's a number of them that show immigration actually raises native-born American wages slightly.
Can you tell me
it's
the
like
mechanism by which that occurs?
1 to 2%.
Give me the mechanism by which that occurs.
Because what do you mean the mechanism?
Okay,
because
so
undocumented workers typically fill low-wage positions, labor-intensive
They're low wage
positions.
because
Guy,
you
you
can get
gotta
undocumented
stop
immigrants to do them.
fucking interrupting me. You're doing what the last guest did. I'm just gonna kick you if you interrupt me again. It's your last chance. If you can provide a study that indicates the opposite, I'm certainly willing to hear your argument. Do you have a specific study that you want to show me?
I mean, not like right now on me. I could get you one, but I mean...
Okay, you certainly could, and I will gladly debunk it. But what we've seen is that the positions within these specific sectors, Americans largely avoid, okay? Easing labor shortages and keeping costs down for, food and housing and things like that without displacing citizens. This is not something people typically argue. Usually they lean on strictly the crime aspect of it, which I'm going to get to next. If you were interested in lowering a specific category of crime as a result of mass immigration, right? Can you you would have to provide for me somewhere in the country, right? A state, county, somewhere where undocumented immigrants are significantly contributing to a rising crime rate. Can you tell me where that's occurring?
Okay, well, you only give 1 point first. So even if undocumented immigrants committed one crime, literally one crime out of their entire population, that is a crime that would not have occurred if there were no undocumented immigrants in the country. Would you concede that?
So this is an argument that people typically make, and the problem is that's not how we can look at it.
That's not the whole argument.
Because I think that's not being genuine. I don't think your argument's genuine, right? The point is this: if you're trying to, let's say, okay, I want to lower the number of sexual assaults committed in this specific state. The point is your target population would not be undocumented immigrants. It would be native-born American citizens, right? It would be American citizens that primarily commit this category of crime. And so what I'm simply arguing is if the goal is to reduce the crime rate, then your target would not be this population of people. That's it.
What if I were to ask you?
By the way, really quick, desert.
Target?
Did you just say the R slur?
What? No.
Oh, I thought you said the R slur. Desert. Let me address something really quick. Desert King in the chat. This is an example of what I'm talking about, folks. This guy says Trump is no jam, but you're off, bro. You spelled "your" wrong. desert Viking, okay? So what I highly recommend you do is learn the difference between your and your before you even start speaking. I can identify you're a maggot through your inability to spell. Sorry, now go ahead, bro. I had to just drag that dude. He was talking shit for like 20 minutes.
I was going to ask you a question. What population would you specifically target, you specifically, if you wanted to reduce the murder rate in America? So what population would you say you would target if you wanted to reduce the per capita murder rate the most in America?
American citizens.
Oh, be more specific, please.
Why? They're American citizens.
Honest. I want to know if you'll be honest.
No, I'm saying why? They're American citizens. What difference does it make?
Well, outside of the conversation about illegal immigration, I genuinely just want to judge if you'll be honest about what.
No, I think you're trying to make an argument that's completely unrelated to my argument, because these are American citizens, so they have the right to be prosecuted here. And if the topic is deportation, why are we talking about what population within the American population is committing this category?
Because the people who commit. Because there's a difference between.
So, are you arguing that we should deport Black Americans, sir?
No, I'm not. I'm not saying that.
Then why are you bringing it up?
Well, I'll tell you why. Because when you say illegal immigrants commit less crime than native-born Americans, they do not commit less crime than white Americans. If you take Hispanics and Black Americans out of the equation, then they commit. They do commit more crime than white Americans. So
what? Say that again.
Illegal migrants commit more crime per capita, not as a total number, but per capita, than white Americans. They do not commit more crime per capita than Black or Hispanic Americans.
We're not. Why are you separating They're American citizens. Why are you separating them based on the color of their skin? You're being racist now, bro. You're being fucking racist now.
Racism is a fake word made up by a communist in the 1920s.
The argument. Are you now disputing racism is not a thing? This is like the last Zionist cuck that came in here.
But I just
again, systemic racism is not a real thing, sir. We're talking about deportation, and you're bringing up Black people for some weird fucking reason unrelated to our conversation. Is about documentation status. Why are you trying to talk about the Black population? It's not related. They're American citizens. You're just being a bigot. You're just being a bigot. That's what you're doing. So would you like to get back to the topic of, I know you were getting cooked on immigration, and so you had to pivot to some racist talking point. But I simply asked you a question about, I think we left off on my last question related to mass deportation, right? We've seen a number of serious consequences as a result of mass deportation. What have some of them been? Thank you, Sambo.
What do you mean serious consequences?
Well, we've seen American citizens die, right? We've seen people's constitutional rights violated, their First Amendment, their Third Amendment, their Second Amendment, their Fourth Amendment, their Fifth Amendment, their Sixth Amendment, their Seventh Amendment, their 14th Amendment. You know, we've seen...
So someone like Alex Preddy is a communist agitator who would happily see me and my family shot, so I don't really care.
That's not true.
Yeah, it is.
No, it isn't. So first of all...
He was an Antifa member.
So first of all, I was in Minnesota during this time period. I was boots on the ground. I saw exactly what was going on. Were you? Because what you don't understand is that ICE was being incredibly provocative. They were pushing us. They were taunting. They were giving the middle finger. They were even doing like weird salutes, racist salutes, and all sorts of inappropriate things. They were trying to bait protesters into confrontation. But regardless, Alex Preddy was simply an American citizen exercising his constitutional right to protest and exercising his constitutional right to carry a firearm legally. He was thrown on the ground, disarmed, and executed. Can you tell me what specifically he did that justified his death? Because we're talking about this in the context
being a communist agitator.
Consequence of mass deportation. How do you know his political ideology? That what is communism? Can you tell me?
Well, so when I say communism, I don't actually mean the.
You don't mean an economic policy.
Well, no,
you don't mean an economic system. You mean a philosophy, right? So what is a? Give me
like race communism.
So give me a philosophical example of what a communist would believe in.
Okay. So when I say communist, I'm using the term colloquially. I mean basically I mean a violent leftist who would happily see me dead. So.
I'm telling you, man, that's not true. People refer to me as a violent leftist, and I wouldn't want to see you dead under any circumstances, regardless of what your opinion is. So that's I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's a fair claim to make.
I will believe you. I will believe you personally, but if you look at what most leftists said after like Charlie Kirk got shot,
yeah,
I think most leftists would happily see most like just regular Christian white people dead. And you see this every time that the far left takes power in a country.
That can't be true. That wouldn't be true because that would contradict everything else they stand for, right? So
because they don't have any actual beliefs. The only thing holding the left-wing coalition together is the hatred of white people.
Man, I'm sorry. You're heavily indoctrinated, bro. You're heavily indoctrinated.
How do you get Muslims and insane left-wing like LGBT activists to work together?
They're not. It's just a nuanced topic. 210 Ring, Christopher, thank you so much.
When Islam says that they should be thrown off a rooftop, it's because they both hate white Christians.
So I can explain it if you want. So the explanation is that first of all, you're oversimplifying. This is called oversimplification, folks. This is a guy taking a very complex issue and significantly oversimplifying it to prove a point. Okay, this happens very often in debates. By the way, guys, I'm putting up a new gifting goal. Can we please contribute to the gifting goal? I would appreciate completing the gifting goal, hitting the thumbs up button. If you haven't subscribed yet, would appreciate subscribing and hitting the notification bell so you do not miss future lives. So you're oversimplifying this. And what I mean by that is it's not necessarily that people agree with what the regime is doing in the war or in Iran or how the regime treats that population of people, right? It's just that the United States need not be involved. This idea that the
I'm
left
not talking
has
about
to agree,
Iran.
Okay, you're talking about Palestine then? Because
Iran
just because you disagree, like their religion or specific to their religion, I mean, Christians, you could say the same thing, right?
I'm not talking about foreign Muslims.
But hold on, you're saying they should
I'm talking about Muslims in America who vote for the Democrat Party, who is against all of their social values, but they vote for them because the Democrat Party is anti-white and will give them free money.
Can you give me an example of what you're talking about? I was trying to explain it and you interrupted again, but go ahead.
What is the Quran's position? What is the Quran's position on, like, say, I don't know, homosexuality?
But we have a separation of church and state in the United States, so it's not relevant, right?
It is. Can you just answer the question, please?
No, it's not. It's not.
Okay, but you know that this line of questioning is bad for you. So
no, it's not, because you don't understand. Is Sharia law a governing principle in the United States?
That's not what I'm arguing, dude. I'm not.
Because it doesn't matter what someone's religious beliefs are. It doesn't have anything to do with their political position. You understand? It shouldn't anyway. We have a separation of church and state. You're not this idea that they're going to implement some kind of like law that condemns.
Do you think the Muslims in America believe in the concept of separation of church and state?
I don't think you believe in it, and I don't think Trump supporters believe in it.
I don't, but I don't think they do either.
So wait, so you're admitting you don't believe in the wall of separation either?
What do you mean by that exactly?
The separation of church and state.
So, 12 of the 13 original colonies had state churches for like
oh my god
decades.
This guy's going to argue against the wall of separation now.
Well, no, I'm saying that your interpretation of it is incorrect in a historical.
It's not. You have no idea what you're talking. Tell me how my interpretation is incorrect. I'm going to give you an opportunity to embarrass yourself. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, if you look at how the United States functioned for probably the 80 years after the founding, I'd say until the Civil War. Many of the states had state churches. They had blasphemy laws. All of these things were upheld by the courts. So the separation of church and state does not mean what you think it means, because if you look at the
still hasn't answered the question.
Archive. What'd you say?
You haven't explained what the separation of church and state means.
Oh, okay. Sorry. the separation of church and state, one, that phrase isn't in the Constitution. But if you mean like the First Amendment, Congress shall make no law.
By saying they're saying something, just so you know, and I've been debating the Constitution for a long time. I don't know if this is your first time here, but arguing in a constitutional debate that something isn't explicitly stated is not an argument. There's a number of things.
That's not my argument, dude.
There's a number of things.
Let me
What
finish.
specifically does the First Amendment state? What does the Establishment Clause state
It says
specifically?
Congress shall not make an establishment of religion. But until
Right.
until after the Civil War, that was basically interpreted to mean Congress. The states could make laws establishing religions because they did. The state church of Virginia was the Anglican Church. The state church of Maryland, I believe, was also the Anglican Church.
So what specifically? Oh my God, this is just too stupid for fucking.
They had
words.
literally established
Like this
state
can't be
churches
a real
and
fucking
blasphemy
person.
laws.
This
There were
can't be a
blasphemy
real
laws
fucking
in
person. It
Virginia.
just can't be.
There were blasphemy laws. You're not making an argument. You're just saying I'm not a real person.
Do you understand?
I'm giving
First of all,
historical
we're talking about
example.
federally. You understand? We're talking about federally, right? You understand that?
So I agree. Federally,
The
yes, that is true. There was no
Framers,
establishment of religion.
what do you think it's? Oh my God! Did you just say I agree? That's true. What do you think? We're talking
Yeah,
about
federally, federally that's true, but at the state level, it was not until after the Civil War.
Yeah, you really don't know what you're talking about, but that's fine as long as you concede federally. So understanding that framers wanted none federally, what does that mean in terms of the ability to implement Sharia law, or
I'm going to
destruct the Establishment Clause to implement
words
laws surrounding
on a piece of paper do not prevent people in institutions from passing laws. Right? You agree with that?
Yes, but you can't. But passing laws? What are we talking about? What law? Give me an example.
Well, what I'm saying is that, like, no matter what the Constitution says, the interpretation of it is up to humans. And
no, it's not. This guy literally doesn't know how our system functions.
You don't think a judge
it's up
has
to
to
this.
interpret the
It's up to
Constitution?
the, but not just humans. The Supreme Court interprets the Constitution, dude. Listen, bro.
Obviously,
You
but
are
they're humans,
beyond
retard.
embarrassing yourself. See, there goes the slur. There's the slur. He embarrassed himself, so he dropped a slur. Holy shit! That is getting clipped. That is getting clipped. I haven't had someone argue against the separation of church and state in a long time. Then concedes and says not at a state level. Jesus, bro. And by the way, just so you guys know, if you want to get spicy, one of the TikTokers, right? Because you guys know I'm on TikTok, obviously. One of the TikTokers that finds those guys and like makes an example out of them, I was having a conversation recently with a mutual of mine who their content is basically dedicated to, like, you know, those people on TikTok that find people and they post the video and it's a big deal. And I was having a conversation about, hey, I get people who throw temper tantrums and drop the N slur on my live. Would you be interested? And so we had a conversation about potentially exposing somebody like that. Maybe that should be the first guy. What do you think? You think that should be the first guy?
Nah.
No, you don't think we should make an example out of somebody who says the N slur and believes they're immune?
Actually, yes, yeah.
Okay.
People who say the N slur are not good people.
Well, he just dropped the N slur because he embarrassed himself. It's
Yeah,
up to us humans to interpret the Constitution. Literally an idiot. So you're a Trump supporter, right?
Oh, no, I was just calling you to tell you I completely agree with you. That guy's a retard, bro.
Yeah, you can't say that either, bro. That guy was definitely an idiot, but you can't say that word either. That's a nice... Oh, Jesus. Let's see if we can get someone who wants to debate that's actually competent. Oh, my God. God help us all. God help us all, man. Seriously. God help us all.
Call from
Jeremy Norris, subscriber from YouTube.
Jeremy Norris of what?
That's where I'm a subscriber.
What's up, bro?
I was calling in. I was calling in for the live feed. I didn't know if it went through or not.
Yeah, are you a Trump supporter?
Hell no. And I've been listening for a while, and I subscribed to where I just wanted to kind of state that I'm noticing that a lot of people calling in, I feel like a lot of them that say they're supporters or were past supporters, they're deflecting. They're deflecting from the topic at hand, and it's bothersome because you've been doing a hell of a job at staying on topic, but then like the one guy, he deflected completely to ask. He was trying to bait you with saying what people in America would you want to get rid of? It's like,
yeah,
and that's where I know it's much better to have conversations with Trump supporters, because then you can kind of you can pick apart where their argument is, but the same pattern is happening over and over. I feel like there's so many facts out there that it goes against Trump, that it's just crazy that you're able to have so many people call in and they're brainwashed beyond comprehension, or they're just uneducated, and it's just nuts to me. I mean, I subscribe because your channel is the exact type of channel needed in order to, even if it gets across to one person's head and makes them realize how stupid they've been thinking, then that's progress. So
I appreciate you, bro. Thank you so much. Yeah, listen, like it can get chaotic because obviously you're talking to so many crazy people with ignorant takes, and they're throwing all sorts of crazy conspiracies and misinformation at you. You have to manage it. The best way to do that is always to force them to stay on the point. That guy was absolutely trying to bait me into some other kind of conversation. But it's the same. Look, you just don't let them take control of the conversation. Under no circumstance, I've been doing this a long time, and under no circumstances do I let these guys control anything here. But I'm going to move to the next guest. Thank you for calling in, bro. I appreciate it.
No problem. I just wanted to make sure I support your channel in any single way, because you're one of the only few channels. You're the only few channels that are actually do it right. So I appreciate what you're doing, man.
Thanks,
no
buddy.
problem, man.
I appreciate you. Take care.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
All right, you too.
I'll tell you, if it wasn't for you guys out there, that logical, critical thinkers, and Renee, thank you so much, Renee, for the 1999 Super Chat. Guys, I would really appreciate completing this gifting goal. I would not want to live here. Like, the thing that gives me hope about the United States is that there's so many of you that recognize the problem. And even if we disagree on small fundamental issues, you guys generally agree with the same thing, what the problem is ultimately. We've discovered a lot of that with the war in Iran. I wouldn't, if I didn't see that many people, be able to break this down in a way like, if let's say we lived in a country where everyone supported this war, I think I would just move. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it would be even worth it to attempt to try and take it back. What's motivating is we have so many people headed in the right direction. We need to provoke as much thought as possible, and we can take this thing back. What's going on, dude? What's up? Are you a Trump supporter? 608, are you a Trump supporter?
I wouldn't say I fully support him, but
every single caller tonight, every single one has said to me, I wouldn't say I fully support him. Guys, you all say the same thing, and then 10 minutes into the conversation, you're yelling something racist. I mean, just admit you supported him. I mean, come on.
So, because I supported him, that makes me racist?
Turbo Jerko, absolutely no one cares what you think. If you're so good at it, why the fuck are you irrelevant? That's what I would say. Go ahead, dude. What did you say?
Sorry, so if I supported him, that means I'm a racist?
Yeah, if you supported Trump this third time, you're absolutely a racist. No doubt about it.
Can you, can you give me, what's your opinion? Why do you not like him? Because I wasn't here for the whole stream. Can you give me a brief, what don't you like?
Yeah. So, I don't like anything about Trump. I never voted for Trump. I think the solution to this country is never going to occur on the right side of the political spectrum. But furthermore, I don't like Trump because of his policies. He also has I could really just simply say he essayed children. I mean, look at the Epstein files, his refusal to release the Epstein files. The Department of Justice is not complying with the law currently to release those files. Like, that would be enough to say why I don't support him. His deportation operation, I think, is a disaster. His foreign policy sucks, is quite literally ruining the globe. His inability to negotiate is weakening Ukraine's sovereignty because he didn't take the correct position in supporting Ukraine and now trying to pressure them into surrendering the Donbas region. The war in Iran has been a complete disaster, not understanding how the IRGC is structured and the consequences regarding the Strait of Hormuz. I mean, I could go on all day, dude. There's a million different things. Where would you like to start? I mean, his presidency has been a complete disaster, start to finish.
Well, I mean, I can't really argue with you about the Epstein files because that's pretty messed up.
Mm-hmm.
But the deportation policy, if somebody's coming in here illegally and they're causing issues, then they should be sent back. I don't think the people that just came here just to work really deserve it that much.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it's also kind of unfair to people that, like my mom, who took the citizenship test.
So just about fairness, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay. I guess I could understand what you're trying to say there, but would you say that the way that Donald Trump's deportation policies have gone so far, executing those policies as harsh as they've been, resulting in the death of American citizens, do you think those were justified? Do you think these things are justified simply because you think it wasn't fair for certain people? I mean, I just don't look at things that way, right? I think it would be far better for American citizens to grant present undocumented immigrants mass amnesty, right? Creating more American taxpayers. Undocumented immigrants already contribute $100 billion at a federal, state, and local level. Why not create more American tax-paying citizens, right? Why not do something that's good for the American taxpayer? Mass deportation doesn't do anything productive for the American taxpayer. So just saying, well, it would be fair for them to remove them and force them to go through the system the way that they did doesn't really do anything for them.
No, like what I was trying to say earlier is, like, if they're causing violence and they're like trying to hurt other people or steal stuff, then they need to go. And like the people that just came here just to get a better life, they shouldn't really be a priority per se until all the ones causing issues are dealt with. And even at that, I don't think they should be deported. They should just have to take the ID test and all that other stuff for legal citizenship.
So I'm not really sure what your point is. Do you agree with Trump's deportation policies or no?
I agree with them deporting like the criminals, but I don't really agree with them deporting like innocent people that just tried to come here for a better life.
But criminals were already being arrested and deported. That's not something new as a result of Donald Trump. Undocumented immigrants who commit crimes were being arrested under previous administrations. That wasn't not happening. And furthermore, undocumented immigrants commit very low crime per capita compared to American-born citizens. So I really don't think crime is a legitimate consequence of undocumented immigration. Do you have something outside of crime that would justify the harsh policies?
Yeah, not really. You kind of made a good point.
Yeah, they don't commit much crime, dude. They commit very little crime, as a matter of fact, specifically violent crime. So crime is not going to be a consequence of undocumented immigration. I know that Republicans, the problem is, like, young people like yourself, Republicans will weaponize, for instance, the death of someone like Laken Riley to try and fearmonger. So you're under the assumption that undocumented immigrants are committing a tremendous amount of crime, that they're in here assaulting women and raping women, when really the population of people committing that category of crime are actually American-born citizens. So
Yeah,
it's very important that you don't just believe what you're being told by the Republican Party, that you take the time to go look up, hey, statistically, is this actually true? Are undocumented immigrants actually contributing to a rising crime rate? Or is this just a bunch of propaganda to fearmonger and get me to vote for these harsh immigration policies that ultimately infringe on the constitutional rights of American-born citizens?
I wasn't trying to say like statistics or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like if that makes any sense. I'm just saying the ones that are being violent or still committing crimes should at least be arrested.
But they were being arrested under previous administrations. What I'm saying is people committing crime that are undocumented weren't not being arrested under Biden, for instance. They were still being arrested. That's not something new. That's not a part of his policy. They were still being arrested. Were you under the assumption they were allowed to commit crime with no consequence under previous administrations?
No, I'm just saying like they should be a little more strict or a little more stringent with it.
Well, if you're referring to, like, for instance, what they did in Minnesota, they're not going around and arresting criminals. Is that what you're talking about? That's what they say is the excuse, but really they're just using that as their legal, it's not even a legal justification because it's still illegal, but they're using that as their reason to violate people's constitutional rights. So they'll say, like, we're here to catch pedophiles, but really, and I was there, I witnessed this. I know I'm not really supposed to use anecdotal evidence, but you can go look on my channel and watch. I was in Minnesota during this period. I watched them do these things. They regularly violated the constitutional rights of American citizens. Their goal was not to catch dangerous criminals. Their goal was to assault a city under the guise of protecting the nation, right? Like a retaliation against a governor and a mayor that he didn't like. So it's very important to explore these things further. Is there anything else, any other consequence you want to go over, and we can talk about it really quick? Marianne, thank you so much for the $20 super chat. Appreciate you, Marianne.
Yeah, thanks, Marianne.
Go ahead, dude. Anything else? Any other reason why you think mass deportation would be something you would support, or the reason you would support it?
My net is cutting out.
Okay, thanks, dude. Take care.
Yeah.
Bro, I think he got embarrassed and didn't want to keep talking, so he was pretending his net was cutting out. I don't even want to say anything. To the people in chat saying I'm lying, what am I lying about?
Call from.
I'm lying? I'm lying now? Hi, are you a Trump supporter?
Yes, I am.
Call from.
Hi, are you a Trump supporter?
No, sir, I'm not.
All right, I appreciate you, but I am looking for Trump supporters, all right?
All right, I completely understand.
No problem. Take care. What's up, dude? Do you support the war in Iran?
Well, yes and no.
Okay, break it down.
So I say no because I'll be honest. Trump and his administration, as much as I will say that I voted for him and I'm not ashamed of it, I am,
Sorry, bro. I hate to interrupt you. I'm so sorry. Guys, can someone in the chat tell me, for some reason I can't pull this up, tell me what happened in Virginia? Go ahead. And why am I fucking... If you can hear me, just talk, dude. My browser's fucking frozen for some reason. Go ahead.
So I say no because as much as I will always say that I voted for Trump and I'm not ashamed to say it, I will say that he has constantly said that he will end the war in Iran. Even today, he says that he's willing to extend a ceasefire, and Iran is basically saying, we're not going to extend it because you're basically threatening to bomb us after the end of the current ceasefire. Essentially, it's just, an endless cycle of, we're going to end the war, and then something happens, I don't really like it's like a broken record, basically. And I say yes.
Thank you, chat.
Because And the reason I say yes is because, well, yes is a bit of a stretch. I'm somewhat, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Iran has had access to nuclear weapons, or at least some form of ways to create a nuclear weapon. And let's be honest, any country that hates countries with Western values, if they're given a nuke, that gives them a chance to act. I'm just being real here. And Iran is not exactly a country known for its leniency, especially towards its citizens.
Are we known for our leniency? Because I would argue we have the highest prison population around the globe, and we're not known for our leniency towards our people either. Happy Lily, thank you for the $9.99 super chat. Appreciate you, Happy Lily. So there's a couple things we have to talk about in terms of whether or not they have nuclear weapons, okay? Jeremy, thank you so much, Jeremy. Appreciate you. I would agree with you, Jeremy. Unfortunately, it's going to be very difficult to get those files with Todd Blanche in charge of the Department of Justice. But anyway, let's talk about this really quick. So you think Iran has a nuclear weapon. Can you tell me what Operation Midnight Hammer was, please?
I have not, as much as I haven't really followed as much.
That's fine, I'll tell you. So there was a military operation in the summer of 2025 where the United States dropped what we call bunker busters on the enrichment facilities of Iran, okay, to prevent their ability to develop a nuclear weapon. Donald Trump claimed this operation was a success, and therefore they could not develop a nuclear weapon, or he significantly delayed their ability to develop a nuclear weapon. I think the word he used was obliterated, right, Chad? Obliterated. So if that's the case, how can it be a primary objective months later? Furthermore, I would like to add that Benjamin Netanyahu, and a lot of this relies on Israeli intelligence, Benjamin Netanyahu's been claiming for decades that Iran was in possession of a nuclear weapon. So you really don't know. That's just not true, right? There's not been evidence of that. What we do know is that we had a diplomatic agreement in place that Donald Trump tore up, said he could negotiate a better one, opted for that military action I just referred to, and then claimed that was a success, all while provoking another war, and then invaded a country, conducted decapitation strikes, and is now stuck there because he can't open the Strait of Hormuz.
Now, and like I said, I haven't fully followed the Iran war, so I'm not going to claim that I know what I'm saying. I'm not going to fully, I'm not going to make myself look like a fool here.
Yeah, just go ahead.
But, the thing is, this isn't the first time that a president, especially a Republican president, has, made themselves look like a fool, like George Bush. Back when Iraq happened, when he made that speech on the...
You're lagging a little bit, dude, but if you're referring to the global war on terror, the point, you're kind of proving my point. We don't want to make that mistake again. So why would we be supporting another president provoking another endless cycle of bloodshed in the Middle East? If you're saying because this happened before, that means it's okay, that's kind of a really weak argument.
I'm just saying before, I don't fully follow the war in Iran, so like I said, I'm not going to claim I know what I'm talking about. But I'm just saying that it's not like Trump is the only president who's ever done this before.
Okay, but your point being what? By the way, to all the troglodyte Republicans that keep saying, the number ain't working. I'm on the phone with a guest right now. How would you be able to call if I'm on the phone? This isn't complicated. This is your inability to critically think, right? This is why you are a Trump supporter. Jesus. Host, your phone ain't working. They clearly hear me talking to someone. What the fuck? So, yeah, man, if your argument is that this has occurred, yes, previous administrations have lied about conflicts. Is that your point? I agree with you. George W. Bush is a war criminal, absolutely invaded a country with no clear justification, claimed weapons of mass destruction, although I would argue that wasn't so much George Bush as it was Dick Cheney. And I encourage you guys to watch that movie. What's the name of that movie with George W. Bush and Dick Cheney? I forget the name of it now. God, it's a great one, though. Oh, God, I'd have to look it up. I can't remember. Anyway, the point, I don't want to get off topic here. That's my ADHD. But if your argument is because we've had presidents lie about, hostility defense to justify conflicts, that really isn't much of a point.
But also, they're also saying that Democrats are making a big deal because Trump is they're trying to make it seem like, oh, Trump is only doing this. He's not doing this for national security. Well, Obama did the exact same thing back in, 2011 with Libya, and even Nancy Pelosi decided to defend him or praise him on Twitter. Like, you can look it up.
I'm not sure what exactly your point is here. Are you saying, do you
I'm
believe
just saying,
Trump?
like, Democrats or Republicans are not exactly, when it comes to war, especially in the Middle East, their priorities, they'll say what the people want to hear, but what happens is completely different. Like I said, I'm not fully supportive. I'm just trying to give you my perspective here.
I'm not sure what your. I really, honestly, don't understand what your perspective is. I got to be completely honest. I have no idea what your perspective is. I got to be honest. I'm wondering, are you defending the war or not? That's all I want to know. Bro, Paul out loud. I just clicked your profile. You're talking mad shit in the chat. You're an older dude who's like trying to become a famous musician. No wonder you're pissed off and insulting people in the chat. LOL, bro. Yeah, bro, are you defending the war or no? That's all I want to know, dude. Hello?
Not fully. No,
okay.
Not 100%.
Listen, man, call me back later, all right? No offense to that guy. He's kind of putting me to sleep. I got to be honest, But Paul out loud, you're a big yapper, bro. Do these guys not realize I can click on their profile? Like, they talk mad shit. Like, Paul out loud, bro, you should not be even speaking, my guy. Don't even talk, my dude. Don't even talk. I'm looking for somebody who's trying to defend Trump, right? I don't think that kid's fully defending Trump. He's just talking about stuff Obama did. I don't know what the relevance is, but his argument is basically that because other leaders have gone to war, that somehow justifies this. I don't know. Are you a Trump supporter?
Quick question. I don't support anyone in that fucking presidency.
Who'd you vote for?
No one. No, fuck
Who'd
that
you
shit,
vote
dude. They're all
for?
behind. Nobody. Dude. Look, I just want you guys to know something. We're under a nation of
Who'd
God,
you vote
right?
for?
It's supposed to be one nation.
We're not interested in listening to you preach. What do you think? You're going to use my platform to come up and preach about God? Get the fuck out of here. He's going to come up and preach about God. I'm not going to tell you who I'm voting for. Now, everyone listen to me. We are one nation under God. Get the fuck out of here. Juds. 908-652-3703. Trump supporters being triggered is literally my lifeline.
Joshua.
I love every second of it. I thrive off it.
Press 1 to send a voicemail.
Watching them just completely crash out in the chat, but they're still here, aren't they? Are you a Trump supporter?
Somewhat.
What, dude?
I said somewhat.
Why do none of you just admit that you're Trump supporters?
Because I don't believe in politics. Politics are what put Jesus on a cross.
Oh, my God. Help us all.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, are you a Christian?
Here,
Wait, this is perfect. Are you a Christian?
I do not support Trump. I just wanted to say that to get in here to tell you all that Jesus is the only one that can save us. And if you're trapped into any form of...
Oh, my God. They're... Oh, my God. Dude, you're... Oh, my God. Oh, man.
Call from
Javi.
Javi, what's going on, bro? Are you a Trump supporter?
Yeah, if I have to defend Trump, so I'm just trying to.
Oh, yeah. Sarah Smile, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Appreciate you. Guys, we have 25 minutes left on the gifting goal. If you have enjoyed the live tonight, we've gotten a lot of crazy, dumb people, but you know what? It's no doubt entertaining. So I'd appreciate contributing to the gifting goal. We've had some good conversations with younger people. You guys notice how the younger guys are far more in control of their emotions than the older guys? Are you a Trump supporter? Hello? Too little. Could hear right off the bat. Too small. Call in. Phone line open. 908-652-3703.
Call from
Luke.
Bro, the Trump supporters that literally don't understand the concept of I am one
Hey, what's up,
person
man?
trying to like take all of these calls at once, right? Like, and they don't understand the concept of the phone line getting jammed up and being busy because of that is so funny and it says everything about them. Luke, what's going on, dude? Are you a Trump supporter? And Jeremy takes the house. Thank you so much for the $4.99 super chat. Appreciate you. And it's funny, Jeremy, this is a really good point. Jeremy says, no one wants to say they love Trump anymore. Weird. Exactly, Jeremy. Guys, have you seen tonight? Not one person, not one single person has said they love Trump. Not one. Every single person says, well, not really. I don't know. Yeah, kind of. I don't know. No. Listen, they're embarrassed by it. I love the dudes crying in the chat. I'm trying to call in and I can't get through on the phone line. That must mean this is pre-recorded. All right, what's going on, caller? How are you?
Sorry, I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. What's up? Do you support Trump?
I do support Trump.
Okay, I'm glad you said that. You're the first person to actually admit it. So just to get a surface level understanding of what kind of Trump supporter you are, do you have a problem with Donald Trump depicting himself as Jesus? I'm just curious.
Yes, I do.
Did you condemn it?
Yes.
Okay. And do you think it represents a pattern of cognitive decline or no?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. I'm glad you admitted it. So you still support him even though you're recognizing he's in cognitive decline?
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me why.
Maybe it's not great, but
I would just say it's, I would say
that
that wouldn't that kind of represent maybe why we're in Iran a little bit, maybe?
Possibly. But I feel like there are definitely other reasons.
Okay, tell me what they are. Go ahead.
No, I'm just kidding, man. I'm sorry. I actually don't support Trump.
Bro, what the fuck, dude? Why'd you call in
I
then?
got your ass. I saw your stream.
All right, man. Take care. I was looking forward to dunking on you. If you are a Trump supporter, call in 908-652-3703. Not sure what the point of that was. I love the Trump supporter in chat before that tried to tell me to SYBAU, and instead they spelled Subaru. Subaru your ass up, Adam.
Call from
Trump rocks.
All right, bro, what's going on? You sound like Dana White from Kmart. What's going on?
Hey. Calling you from California. You got a good contact?
Good contact for what? Weed?
Yeah, no. I love Trump.
Okay, and so let's get a surface level understanding of what kind of a Trump supporter you are. What's your first name so we can get on a more personal level here?
It's Scotty.
Scotty, what's going on? Scotty don't know. Scotty don't know. Scotty. Oh, Scotty.
You gotta
listen, Scotty, Subaru. I'm talking. He even laughs like Dana White when
Daniel chapter 8 is coming into effect, brother. Trump is bringing in Bible prophecy. He is the Cyrus. Wake up, smell the coffee. We got 4 years left. 4 years left.
Why do we have 4 years?
Timeline.
So what's going to happen?
Baby.
Maybe you can educate
me. Your YouTube channel's going down the toilet.
Damn. So I have 4 years left.
We have 4 years left. Biblical timeline.
So what happens at the end of the biblical timeline? Does God delete my YouTube channel?
No, man. We have a new heaven and a new earth.
So can I take my YouTube channel?
No, you can't take anything of the world. Dude, wake up and smell the coffee, man.
Crystal, thank you so much, Crystal. Appreciate you, Crystal. Thank you, Crystal.
You're a faggot, man.
Listen,
you're a
bro,
transgender.
Listen, you're a weirdo. Listen, you're a weirdo. You're a weirdo. I love how they're literally citing Christian fucking nonsensical talking points and then dropping slurs. Can you imagine the heaven that consists of Trump supporters? Listen, here, I'll be super clear about this for everyone. If heaven consists of MAGA chuds, I don't want to go. If heaven consists of MAGA chuds, I don't want to go. Kyle, what's going on? Are you a Trump supporter, Kyle?
Yes, just yes.
What do you mean? Did you vote for him?
Yes, I did vote for him.
Did you support the war in Iran?
It's kind of like...
No, you're not. You're just taking too long. So he said it's not somebody with a legitimate point. Not somebody with a legitimate point. Yeah, don't send me to the heaven where MAGA chuds are, please. I refuse to be present. I will leave. I will refuse it. That's what's going to end up happening. I will refuse it. I refuse to go. Yes, are you a Trump supporter? Did you vote for Trump?
I did.
Okay. And do you support the war in Iran?
At this point, do we have a choice to say we support it or we don't?
I mean,
already is there, so I guess we got you, right?
Well, it's two different conversations, so obviously now it's not as easy as just leaving. There's going to be consequences, obviously, but I still think that's the best route forward.
The thing is, from the outlook, at least from my position, there's really only two ways this will end. None of them is good for the United States, and I don't really know which way we should end it.
I agree.
We continue this war. We decimate civilization, and then what? They're just gonna hit us more. They rebuild, and we ain't gonna get that oil. Even Trump wanted it, but if we don't, they become a nuclear power because we stop caring, and maybe they start acting vengeance that they have for the past 50 years, and ultimately it's not good for us, and I don't know.
Well, let me say this. Prior to the war, I would have argued that Iran had no intention on attacking the United States. I'm not even sure they're super interested in developing nuclear weapons the way that the administration claims that they wanted to, or that Israel claims they wanted to, because they could have in the past had they wanted to, last year or a year or whatever it was, before Operation Midnight Hammer, if they wanted to, right? And so there would be nothing stopping them at that point. I think that the power, right, comes in the threat that they might want to possess them. And I think that now that you've struck the regime and killed the Ayatollah, I think you've actually given them a justified reason to retaliate against the United States. So, and you've put someone in there who I think would be more likely to do something like that in the son of the Ayatollah, who's an IRGC hardliner, really ideologically committed to the movement, and has been responsible for committing human rights violations against the people of Iran, the Persian people. So, but I don't think at this point you have a choice but to accept that you are not the moral authority in determining whether or not other countries can possess these capabilities. Iran doesn't even have the missile technology to reach the United States, and they definitely did not have nuclear weapons. And so should we have continued the question is, should we have continued negotiations and not torn up our previous previous diplomatic agreement and tried to come up with a new agreement, or at least waited for a president who was competent enough to negotiate a new one, or should we have attacked them? And I will always argue for diplomacy. We never should have attacked them. It was a giant mistake, and this incompetent administration has caused us severe harm as a result of it. And not just us, the globe, truthfully here.
Honestly, I would, at the start of this, like all the taco stuff, I was kind of hoping he would chicken out, because
not possible.
Sometimes, just hear me out on this, right? Like, sometimes politics isn't what we see. It's about what we don't see. And I always thought maybe there's something secretly going on behind the back. It's kind of the thing where I thought like Trump actually had a different plan rather than just straight up threatening them, and maybe they'll be talking underneath the table. But when we started dropping bombs on it, I was like, God damn, we did not have any other plans, did we? It's like we had a lot of panic politics that's at play in the top people, and not a lot of them really give it a second thought. I mean, listen, I did not have any good good thing to say about Iran, as their deal on human rights and how they.
I'm confused. Did you support the strikes initially or not?
No, actually, I was
Okay.
totally surprised. I thought he's not going to do it. I thought he was going to be like, okay, so we struck a deal under the table and we call it a day. But boom, the freaking missile landed the next day. So
Yeah, I understand. Listen, man, I'm looking for people that do support it. But what I will say to you is, since you're a Trump supporter and you didn't think he would do it, I actually did. I believe that he would, and I think that you have to consider other things outside of, does this make sense for the American taxpayer? As a Trump supporter, when you look at it that way, of course it makes no sense, because it doesn't advance. But hold on, it doesn't advance the interests of the American taxpayer. But when you consider the Epstein files and you consider the influence of AIPAC and Netanyahu and Trump's relationship and all these other factors, you would see why potentially he makes the decision to do this. Thank you for calling in. Appreciate it. I am looking for people who do support it, though, so I can try and make progress with them. If you are a Trump supporter, call in 908-652-3703. Appreciate it. Look at the comments here really quick. Yeah, well, I mean, we have a lot of chicken hawks. You know what a chicken hawk is? A chicken hawk is someone who advocates for war but would never participate.
Call from
Trenton Moore.
Trenton? You're too little, man.
Jacob.
Oh, my God. Both kids, absolutely not. Sorry, guys. I like young people being interested in politics, but you guys are just too young. Emily, thank you so much for the $4.99 super chat. Says thanks for being here tonight. It blows my mind how these people twist themselves into a pretzel trying to defend the orange. Yes, they do, Emily. And yep, they'll basically perform gymnastics to defend him. But I think it's funny today, the consistent thing has been people unwilling to admit it. That they still support him. They're all saying, kind of, not really sure, blah, blah, blah. Hi, are you a Trump supporter?
I am.
How old are you?
39.
Cool. So, really quick, just getting a surface level understanding of what kind of Trump supporter you are. Do you think it was ridiculous how Donald Trump posted himself depicting Jesus Christ?
No.
You didn't think that was blasphemous at all, and maybe, shows some serious cognitive issues? Because, I mean, his base, right? What's the base that upholds him? Nayland, thank you so much. Thank you to the people contributing to the gifting goal. Appreciate you so much. What is the base that has propped Donald Trump up? The evangelical Christian, right? Do you think it's kind of like stupid to post a picture depicting yourself as Jesus to the very base that literally gave you the power you do have? I mean, that's,
I think it can be explained away. I think it's Jesus-like, but I don't think he's not like on a cross or something to that degree. So I think it's just kind of rage bait.
Really quick, Joe Not Exotic, you're funny as hell. You make me laugh, your comments all the time. But Crystal, the reason you keep saying I'm trying to call in but doesn't let me, there are tons of people trying to call in simultaneously, Crystal. These guys that call in and get through are because they consistently call in, right? It's if you're not getting through, it's because other people are calling. That's all it is. It's not really a complicated process here. So, dude, the point is whether or not he's on the cross. Is that the way Jesus is depicted in a number of Renaissance era paintings, right? With that red robe representing the blood of Christ. Huh?
I think that's how a lot of folks are depicted. It's like a typical oil painting kind of style.
No,
it looks like
that's how Jesus is quite literally depicted. Quite literally.
It's not a big deal to me. It's very on brand for Trump. It's on brand for Trump. This is the guy that we elected for this reason because
he's an idiot. Okay, I got it. So all I wanted to point out is how far you were willing to defend. I was just trying to point out how far you were willing to defend him, but that's okay. So
that's not crazy.
You don't think it's okay? Well, he said that he was trying to depict himself as a Red Cross doctor. Do you believe that to be true, though?
I believe that's probably a part of the prompt, and red probably got baked into the photo somewhere. I think he doesn't know how to use AI or prompt very well, probably, and that's, it doesn't matter. And that's the thing. Like,
I think it does.
So many more.
I think he's the president of the United States in charge of nuclear deployment, and if he's posting pictures depicting himself as Jesus, in a picture that has U.S. soldiers going to heaven behind him and planes and all sorts of crazy shit, I think it should concern the American people. Right? I think all the crazy shit he posts should concern the American people. I mean, you would agree. Do you think Donald Trump is cognitively well? Do you think people should be concerned about him being in control of these things and showing these signs of dementia, I would say?
No, I think he's probably above average, if not in the top 10% for his age in terms of cognitive ability and energy. I mean, he travels all the time.
Energy?
He's talking all the time. And, he works every day. I mean, do you know any 80-year-olds that work 7 days a week all day?
7 days a week? I mean, I don't know that he works 7 days a week.
That's what he does.
Well, that's not true. He just took a
doing
vacation
something all the time.
He just took a vacation last weekend. He was off for 2 days. So he doesn't.
The guy's all over the place. Every day
he has some. I'd say he's. But I mean, as of recently, I think he's shown signs of being tired. He falls asleep pretty regularly. I wouldn't deny that throughout his life. I think he's shown to have some decent energy. But I think that lately he's definitely shown that's not the case. He falls asleep in cabinet meetings. I mean, if you can't stay awake in cabinet meetings, I don't think you're staying awake when you're off camera. I mean, he's quite literally on camera, slumped to the right with his lip drooping down. I find that concerning for me. That's all I'm saying. I mean, I don't think that guy should necessarily be president.
Well, that's clear.
Well, I mean, there's also stuff about him going to the bathroom on himself. There's rumors about using substances. There's obviously some other health concerns. Do you support his decision to invade Iran?
Are you telling me you've never shit yourself? I'm a 39-year-old man, and I've shit myself at least 5 times in the last decade.
Whoa. Now, no, not in the last decade. No, dude. You've shit yourself 5 times in the last 10 years?
Not literally. Not like a full log of shit, but like, you miss something on a wipe or whatever, or, you know what I mean? Or you're in a rush and you got to answer the phone or
I
whatever.
don't know what you mean. I got to be honest.
Yeah, well, it's human, and if you had grace in your heart and you actually looked at things objectively, then you wouldn't, be as harsh as you are on the guy.
Or were you harsh on Joe Biden?
I mean, I think Joe Biden was a lot worse.
Okay,
I think it's proportional. I think just and I'm not trying to make the case that Biden had dementia, but I think just in terms of the clarity of thought, the amount of appearances, the mobility aspect, and I'm not a doctor, I'm not like an expert on mobility or anything, but just observing, I think Donald Trump is in a lot better shape, at least in terms of energy and ability to actually do what the people elected him to do.
I've got to disagree. I mean, Joe Biden was riding a bike, right, during his presidency. Joe Biden was regularly.
You mean that video where he fell off the bike?
Well, he did at some point, but you have to.
Talking about?
Well, I mean, falling off a bike is a lot more common than shitting your pants, Mr. Poopy Pants.
I think it remains. I think that's conjecture. I don't think that's actually. I mean, that's just.
I would say it's far more likely to fall off your bike while riding it than shitting your pants. But listen, that's besides the point. The point is,
we have a video of him falling off the bike, and Donald Trump.
I'm aware, but you have to ride a bike to fall off a bike. Trump doesn't ride a bike, so clearly he's never going to fall off one.
It shows impaired judgment.
I could see Trump falling out of his chair during a cabinet meeting. He's come close a couple times. But I mean, if
you had cameras on you 24 hours a day for every waking moment that you're outside, and you're an 86-year-old man, you're going to have a couple of moments.
Listen, here's the thing, right? What specifically has Joe Biden done, right, that during his presidency that concerned you cognitively that Trump hasn't done?
Well, it's the trailing off in the sentences and forgetting, like in that debate, I think that was a problem where he completely went off on a whole different tangent, and he wasn't completely with it. And I think he had other people running things, which is a sign of, I think, good leadership, delegating and what have you. But I think he was mentally in a worse place than
But
Trump
that's
is.
an
And I think Trump
opinion, but what's it based off of, right? I asked you for specific examples
there's
because
nothing.
Here's the thing, right? There's nothing. There you go. I'm glad you've conceded because here's the problem,
I mean,
right? Your unwillingness to be critical of
probably...
Donald Trump's cognitive state while Biden spent his entire presidency being criticized by Trump supporters about his cognitive capability. Look, I'm not defending it one way or another. I'm just saying you guys were super critical about Biden's cognitive abilities. And then when Trump got elected and did weird shit, you guys were like, well, he works 7 days a week. He's tired. Have you never pooped your pants? I mean, you just literally admitted that you poop your pants to justify Trump pooping his pants. I mean, this is insane, right? Like, I mean, come on, man. I'm trying to point out your political bias. Do you recognize your political bias through the course of this conversation that you've had with me here?
I think if I was really aggressively going after Biden based on his cognitive decline, I think you're trying to cast me as a typical MAGA voter. But there's different, I mean, and based on my opinion, and I have the right to an opinion, he was worse physically and mentally. He just didn't seem to communicate
That's
very
nice.
well.
What's that opinion based off of?
I could look up all the instances that and appearances of Biden that really were suspect, but I'm not someone who keeps a record of all the instances that a senile old man slips, because it's sad. It was sad.
For
it's
instance,
the kind of thing
and you guys
forget.
mocked it and laughed at him and you ridiculed Biden on a regular basis. I was there. I debated that in his entire presidency, talked to Trump supporters every day about it, and Trump supporter after Trump supporter would come up and mock him and laugh and all this stuff. I'm just simply pointing out your clear. All I'm doing, right, is shining a light on your political bias, your unwillingness to recognize, right, that Trump is in clear cognitive decline because you like his political position. You didn't like Biden's.
Well, your
and therefore
reason
were
is
far more
because
critical.
he has a picture of Jesus.
No, I can give you. Wait. That's not my reason. Excuse me. That's not my reason. First of all, I've asked you multiple times to provide me an example. I have asked you multiple times to provide me an example of something Biden did that was equivalent, and you couldn't provide me one that justified his cognitive decline. Hold on, you couldn't provide me one example that justified his cognitive decline. You literally said there's nothing. right? You couldn't give me one. How about this
I can
one
name
for
5
Trump?
of
How
them.
about this one for Trump?
I
Threatening
can
to
name 5 of them
genocide
now.
how about this one for Trump? Threatening to genocide an entire population of people, a civilization never to return again. Do you think that maybe when you take those kinds of statements, right, and you combine them with the fact that this guy can't stay awake in cabinet meetings, that he regularly lashes out on people, he stays up all night and posts weird things on Truth Social, that I shouldn't be concerned about his capability to destroy the entire world? Of course I should, right? I should evaluate his cognitive ability. In Biden's case, I can tell you one thing for sure under Biden. One thing for sure under Biden, I never lost any sleep thinking that he was going to unnecessarily launch a nuke at another country. Say whatever you want about him. I did not worry about that.
Oh, we just had to worry about other countries completely taking advantage of us and hurting each other and running amok across the world. I think Donald Trump has made some great accomplishments, and I think if you look at those accomplishments and see how he keeps rolling them out, you would appreciate that he's still sharp, still getting it done, and he's in the middle of a negotiation right now with Iran.
He's not. He's not in the middle of a negotiation. He's not even negotiating.
Sure he is.
No, he's not.
Sure he is.
It's Jared
He's
Kushner,
giving him a choice, either obliteration.
It's Jared Kushner and Witkoff. Those are the guys that negotiate. Trump doesn't negotiate. Trump can't negotiate.
Who do they report to?
Trump literally said, well, I'll give you an example of why that's not true, right? During the last negotiation, you had Vance, who'd you have? Vance, Witkoff, Kushner, right? Negotiating. They were in the middle of negotiations, and Donald Trump came out of the White House that morning. The press approached him and said, how are negotiations going? He said, I don't really know. I don't really care whether or not we come to a deal, though. Whatever happens, who cares? Either way, we're going to win. Does that sound like someone who's involved in negotiations? Even Republicans who respected Trump were critical of that statement, because that's not a productive thing to say when you're in the middle of negotiations. Trump's inability to negotiate. Do you think Trump has done a good job with the Ukraine and Russia situation, the negotiations there?
I think there's still a Ukraine and there's still a Russia, and that's contained and on the side, so it doesn't seem too bad for me.
It's not contained and on the side. What are you talking about? Is Ukraine going to be significantly weakened?
Are we attacked? Are we being attacked by Russia right now?
No, but we weren't being attacked by Russia. So
they're occupied. They're occupied. Let them fuck each other up.
Yeah, but what are the negative consequences?
We got business to take care of.
Yeah, but those consequences affect us here at home.
Yeah, but what affects us more is Iran wielding nuclear weapons. Wielding, supporting terrorist states.
Russia has nuclear
weapons. Even the Iranian people are rising up.
Russia has nuclear weapons. So wait, you're saying Iran is more of a threat than Russia? When Russia possesses the capabilities you fear and are trying to prevent Iran from possessing? I would say Russia presents much more of a threat. What are the consequences geopolitically of Russia absorbing Ukraine or Ukraine being significantly weakened in those negotiations?
Can't happen because we're propping up Ukraine, and and the thing with Russia is that we've got a relationship with Russia. The fact that we can.
So the answer is,
at the same time.
What countries specifically border Ukraine? Why is Ukraine important for the United States in terms of NATO, for instance?
Well, it's on the water. I think Crimea was important because it's a shipping route, right?
Yeah, so it's the buffer zone, right, that separates Russia and Poland. We have intelligence that Russia wants to attack Poland, right? We have an agreement in place that we would assist in defending their sovereignty. Do you think we've upheld that agreement to the extent we should? Or, the United States is actively trying to convince Ukraine in these negotiations to surrender the Donbas region. I'm sure you understand the significance of that region as it pertains to Ukraine's recovery economically. Do you think they're going to be able to recover the way that they need to without their economic heartland? No, that's all a consequence of Trump's inability to negotiate. Trump's inability to negotiate there's examples of it all over the world. China could invade Taiwan. right? Trump's probably going to invade Cuba after this. His foreign policy has been a complete disaster, all a result of his inability to negotiate.
It's completely untrue. There's many examples of him.
Sure. So let's talk. Let's
Being a good
finish the
negotiator.
conversation about Ukraine and Russia. You don't really even fully understand the consequences there.
You don't want to go. You don't want to go over the point that he's a good negotiator. You just want to run away from that one.
This is a negotiating point.
Abraham Accords, USMCA.
The Abraham Accords were not a success. They refused. The Abraham Accords were largely responsible for what happened on October 7th. You know that, right?
I completely disagree.
All right. What were the major issues with the Abraham Accords?
You had NATO stepping up and spending more money. He got NATO to step up and spend more money. I mean, to say
did
he's
the
not
Abraham
a good
Accords
negotiator
recognize
is
a
absurd.
Palestinian state?
No, because Palestine's never been a state.
You think that increased tensions ultimately contributing to what happened on October 7th?
Yeah, they don't get a state. They've never been a state. Palestine is a word used to insult the Jews. Had nothing to. They're not native to that area, and the fact that they make up
the
20%
audacity,
of the Israeli
folks,
population,
the
is
absolute
proof that
audacity.
Israel
I knew you were a goofball. I knew you were a goofball. But I highly.
Ad hom. Here come the ad homs. You're done, buddy. You got nothing anymore.
What are you going to do? You don't even know. I'm trying to explain to you the consequences of Trump's inability to negotiate between Russia and Ukraine. You can't even tell me what the consequences of the war are.
10 different reasons why he
You
is a good
didn't name 10 different reasons. Wait, so are you saying the Abraham Accords didn't contribute?
Abraham Accords.
Did the Abraham
NATO burden
Accords
sharing
sideline
pressure.
Palestine? If
You trade de-escalation.
you're an idiot.
I mean, come on.
You're an idiot. If you don't think the Abraham Accords contributed to October 7th, it's because you don't know what you're talking about. It's quite literally what emboldened them to launch the attacks. Okay? It quite literally, if you can't argue this and then argue this. The guy's just a goofball. Can I get a fucking competent Trump supporter, for the love of God? For the love of God. Does one exist? God, they're so stupid. Why are the Ukraine-Russia negotiations important for the United States and NATO? Well, it's by the water. What a fucking moron. Are you a Trump supporter?
Yeah.
Okay. And do you still support Trump today?
Yeah.
Okay, real quick, just to get a surface level understanding of what kind of Trump supporter you are, do you think Trump has shown his recent record has shown some cognitive decline? Should American citizens be concerned, like depicting himself as Jesus Christ?
No, not at all. And I gotta say, that last guy had you on the ropes.
On what?
On the whole conversation, dude.
Tell me one topic he had me on the ropes on. Name one thing in that conversation I said that wasn't true.
I'm not saying that you did.
So what did he have me on the ropes on?
You wouldn't address his points. You ran away.
He didn't make a point.
Man, it happened.
He didn't make a point, you dumbass. What
It
he's
happens,
saying
man.
is
Don't-
incorrect.
Hey, Adam cry. Adam cry, bro.
Listen,
It happens.
you're dumb as fuck.
It happens.
You're dumb. That's why you think
Oh,
he had
come
me
on.
on the ropes. He didn't have me on
Good-
the ropes.
good-
He
good
couldn't
one.
answer the question about Ukraine and Russia. And so he said that the Abraham Accords were an example of Trump's ability to negotiate when they're one of the primary reasons that caused October 7th. Do you understand? Do you know what the Abraham Accords are?
Of course.
What are they?
The peace agreement, or I don't know if you want to classify it as a peace agreement, but an agreement between some of the Arabian states and Israel and the United States.
And do you think not recognizing Palestinian
peace and
statehood
hostility.
at all contributed to the attacks on October 7th?
Hey man, you should argue with him, not me. You hung up on him.
Are you scared? You called in. Are you scared to debate? Here's what we'll do.
No, not at
I'll
all.
have you pick up where he was scared to go, right? I know you guys think you're so desperate to try and, but this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you an opportunity to debate for him. Ready? So where he started to go was, I asked him specifically, why is it important that the United States follow up with their agreement with Ukraine and prevent Russia from swallowing Ukraine and not develop a stronger foothold in the region? Go ahead. Now your response, because this is where he pivoted. Go ahead. You can debate it for him. Let's hear it.
Well, what agreement do we have that exists that says that?
The 1994 Budapest Memorandum.
Okay, and can you explain to me what that says?
The fact that you don't know that is exactly the entire point. You guys think you're smart, but you actually think people like this win debates because you're stupid.
Because
yes, you don't know it. You don't know geopolitics at all. The fact that you don't know this is surface level, bro. So the Budapest Memorandum is an agreement in which Ukraine agreed to surrender their nuclear stockpile, and in return, we agreed to assist in defending their sovereignty. What is the significance of Ukraine maintaining their sovereignty in that region? Why was Biden so supportive of Ukraine, and why has it been detrimental, right, that Donald Trump has taken a more neutral position in those negotiations?
Well, has it been detrimental?
Yes. Do you know anything
and in
about
what way?
Well, so are you familiar with the 20-point peace plan?
Between Ukraine and Russia?
Yeah, the original plan. Like, what has Russia gotten out of those negotiations thus far? What does the United States want Ukraine to do specifically to wrap up these negotiations? What's the significance of the region they want them to surrender that's largely occupied by Russia currently?
Well, maybe you could just cut to the part that's been detrimental, since that's your plan.
So there's a number of things that have been detrimental, but if you don't know any of them, if you don't know the 20-point peace plan, we're not going to be able to have a conversation. Yeah, so for instance,
we'll go over the detrimental.
Yeah, so for instance, the United States wants Ukraine to surrender the Donbas region. Are you familiar with the significance of that region?
Is that's the region between Russia and Ukraine that's contested right now, that's occupied by Russia?
What is the significance of the Donbas region?
I was asking a question.
Guy, everyone knows you. You clearly can't debate. What is the significance of the Donbas region?
Can you answer my question? Then I can.
Okay, he doesn't.
Have
a good day, bro. I just wanted to prove that you too couldn't debate that topic, which is why he ran from it as well. You can't debate it. So the answer is their economy relies on it. So if they surrender this territory, they're not going to be able to survive without significant international support. Do you understand? Which means it's likely Russia swallows them in the future anyway. This guy's arguing Russia is less dangerous than Iran. Russia possesses nuclear deployment capabilities. They regularly threaten the West. Russia's far more dangerous to us than Iran, you goofballs.
I would have to disagree with you on that.
Really? So explain why Iran is more dangerous than Russia.
Iran is funded. They're funding nothing but terrorist organizations that are constantly threatening the West.
Who has the capability to hurt the United States more? Russia? I can't believe this is even a debate. The stupidity of these people, it's so painful. They're so dumb, and they think they're smart, which is so fucking painful. Like, you guys would do so much better if you just didn't act like you know what the fuck you're talking about. Like, you think Iran is more dangerous to the United States than Russia? Are you fucking stupid?
Most definitely. Let Russia make their threats. Russia's not...
Not what? Did you just hang up? Russia. I'm going to choke, dude. Russia's not. Russia's not what, bro? You mean nuclear armed country? You mean capable of destroying the United States? Holy fuck. Some of you are dumb as all hell, bro. Like, it's remarkable how simple you are. It really is. Yes, are you a Trump supporter?
Yes, sir.
Okay, do you still support Trump today?
Yes, I do.
Okay, do you support the war in Iran?
Yes, I do.
All right, break it down.
I believe that, they've been chanting, death to America for many years. They are anti-Americans, and we need to spread peace through power, and we need to get rid of the regime The the IRGC is off hinged, and they just want to.
The who is unhinged?
The IRGC.
IRGC. There you go. Go ahead.
Okay. I'm sorry. Yeah, IRGC. They're unhinged, and they're rogue, and so I believe, in my opinion, that this is not about the nuclear dust. I believe this is all about oil, stabilizing the USD, and also weakening Russia and China by reducing, by controlling the oil demand, weakening them, right? So they have to rely on.
I understand the concept.
U.S. oil.
Yep, I've argued it about 7 times today. It's very easy to debunk. Okay. So can you tell me, with what you're talking about, would that have to be accomplished through regime change? The answer is yes.
Yes, it would have to be, yes.
Has Donald Trump said regime change has already occurred?
Well, here's the scoop. So I voted for Donald Trump, but he also he says things, I think, that he says things to rile things up that I think are not accurate. To play both sides. That's one thing that I'm having an issue with, is like he'll say, hey, the strait is open, and the next day the strait is closed.
But the difference is you would be able to substantiate militarily that the goal is to try and open the Strait of Hormuz, right? What specifically are we doing militarily to advance regime change?
Well, what we're doing right now is we're preparing to apparently destroy all the infrastructure to make them to fold them, where they have to really stand still underneath
infrastructure. We're threatening to. We have threatened to.
We're threatening to. Well, that's what I'm saying.
But we haven't destroyed all of their infrastructure. It's a threat we made. It was a part of a threat Trump made, but no, they still have infrastructure.
Well, they have still. That's what I'm trying to say. He's actually talking about what he's going to do. Well, whether he's going to do it or not.
If regime change is a goal, why is he not doing it?
I think that I think he's bitten off a little bit more than he can chew.
Yeah, regime change is not an objective, dude. Okay, and he said multiple times. Now, you would potentially be able to argue that it was in the beginning of the war when they initially conducted those strikes, but and they wanted like the Iranian people to uprise against the regime, but you can't argue it is now. They're not doing anything militarily to force regime change. Donald Trump has said multiple times he's declared victory. He says regime change has already occurred. And that's not a negotiating tactic. It's because he's declaring victory over something he knows he can't accomplish. And there's a number of reasons he can't accomplish it, and we can go into those if you'd like.
Yes.
You were talking about the IRGC before, and understanding how the IRGC is structured is a major reason why regime change is not possible. You can't conduct regime change even outside of the Mosaic Doctrine, in this case specific to why you can't do it with Iran, but you can't conduct regime change without boots on the ground. Agreed?
Correct.
Okay, so clearly they don't want to put boots on the ground. So if boots aren't on the ground, then clearly regime change is not. They're not actively.
But apparently we do have boots prepared. Again, this is where I have conflict. Is where we say that we have military prepared to go on the ground, or to infiltrate the island and take over and penetrate the areas that are being shielded or underground to take over the IRGC, and that's where I was listening to this. I've never called in before, and I just thought this was kind of cool to discuss this, because it's definitely I hear a lot of people talking, and and I think that you're very smart, and I think that I think we are in, regardless of whether you like Trump or not, we are in a situation now. There's no return.
And I understand that, but that's a different argument, dude. Okay? Your initial argument was that there's some kind of fantasy objective, and Donald Trump's not telling us that. And I think that people try and argue that because they can't argue the legitimate objectives. What's the administration claiming they really are there for, right? Nuclear deployment is the primary one.
Correct.
Right. And that doesn't make any sense and can't be sold to anyone. And so you guys are trying to make logical sense. Why would you make such a dumb decision, right? Why would you do this? It can't, there's got to be some other reason. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. There is no other reason. He's if you want to argue maybe that was a potential outcome if the initial strikes went according to plan, then cool. I guess I could understand where you're coming from there. But the problem is it was never possible from the beginning. From the beginning, it was never possible to overthrow the regime unless you want another 20-year, trillion-dollar occupation. Because the way that in fact, it would be more difficult to do this than what we did in Afghanistan. And in Afghanistan, the Taliban took back control of their government that we installed within 48 hours. So I don't think we have a good track record, even in cases where we don't have an organized military and countries that strictly rely on guerrilla warfare installing these governments. So again, it's I think that you have to consider the incompetence of the administration. They were clearly unprepared. I don't think they fully understood the structure or consequences. Made a dumb decision. They hoped they could take advantage of the fact that the Iranian people there was a lot of talk about them potentially willing to uprise and that they were starting to protest and fight back. Could you spark an uprising against the regime, and would they do the work that boots on the ground otherwise would do? And when that was a failure, I think they realized that regime change wasn't going to occur, and there was not much they were going to be able to do in that regard. So they're going to weaken them as much as they possibly can. The mission was a failure, and then leave. But Iran used their tactics to choke the Strait of Hormuz, and now the United States is stuck in a conflict, right, that they can't get out of because of the global consequences. Right.
That's right. And I think also Benjamin Netanyahu, I think he's actually the one that is, I think he's bad for the United States. I think he holds a lot of the persuasion for Trump.
Definitely.
And I think he's actually, he's got more power in the United States than any president, to be direct with you.
Probably.
I think he's, he's bad news, and I think he knows what he's doing, in manipulating our president for our military backing.
Here's the thing, dude. You partially understand the influence. I just think what you're doing is first of all, you are a subject. You obviously are a victim of this American exceptionalist indoctrination that we are somehow the good guys. I want you to recognize we're not. There's a lot of historical context we need to discuss here. The United States is not the good guy in any regard. The best thing we can do is start looking in the mirror and stop pretending we have the moral high ground and can determine whether or not other countries are dangerous. You know how you make countries less likely to want to possess this type of weapon? You stop bombing them into submission. Countries won't feel fear for their sovereignty if you stop doing those things, right? So that's number one. But number two, I think that you want to try and make sense of the ridiculous objectives of this conflict and try and, think there must be something. There must be some reason, right? You're not considering the Epstein files, right? Which I think is a major part of it. At least you are considering the AIPAC influence, the Israel influence, which is important. That's a factor, but that by itself is not enough. I want you to also understand, Donald Trump, I think, was more vulnerable and desperate to change the narrative than ever before in his life, at least during the course of his presidency. And I think more willing to accept this burden like no other president was willing to do. Because remember, Israel's been trying to convince U.S. presidents to attack Iran for decades. That's not new.
That's right.
Trump took the bait, I think, because he was in a position that was vulnerable. The headlines in the United States were all about, is this guy a PDF file? Did this guy essay young girls? And I think that's also part of the reason. So there's a number of different things here that you'll have to accept, but none of them are going to include a super secret strategy to weaken our adversaries and benefit the American taxpayer.
So how does the Epstein files come into this? That's where I don't, I've heard you say this.
What did we? Well, here's the reason a lot of people dismiss it, because it sounds lukewarm and surface level. But let's have a surface level conversation about it. What have we always said about the Epstein files? When it comes down to releasing those names or starting a war, they will start a war. And that's exactly what happened. And then nobody blamed the Epstein files. I just think it plays a role in Donald Trump's vulnerability. Because I think this was partially an end run performed on our intelligence agencies and the President of the United States. And I think it put him in a weakened position, desperate. He was desperate. And I think he understood that regardless of the outcome here, although maybe he believed potential positive outcomes as a result, he knew that people would not be talking about the Epstein files anymore. And guess what? It worked.
That's right.
We're talking about how shitty of a president he is, but guess what? The conversation about Epstein definitely took a back seat, absent Melania Trump coming out and speaking about Amanda Ungaro, but that's besides the point.
Yeah, but I really don't. I don't really remember the Epstein files, becoming to a major light, before this. I must. I don't. I knew it was out there, but it wasn't. I didn't see it as a major topic.
Dude, it was
hear
the
about people
story.
talking about it. Well,
it was literally the story. Well, there was I'll explain the timeline to you. I'll explain the timeline to you. What, do you remember the law that was passed by Congress?
Negative.
Okay. There was a law passed by Congress called the Epstein Transparency Act. Okay?
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes.
Okay,
yes,
that law was passed, and it demanded that those files be released by December 19th in their full. No exceptions. A bill carefully crafted towards protecting the names of victims and not redacting the names of potential perpetrators. Well, the Department of Justice, compromised of both Pam Bondi and Todd Blanche at the time. Pam Bondi's since been removed. Hold on, don't need affirmations.
Yep.
Todd Blanche, if you're familiar, Todd Blanche is Donald Trump's personal attorney. He's the true guy in charge in the Department of Justice. They decided they weren't going to comply with that law. Remember, Donald Trump did a bunch of things to prevent that law from even going to Congress. He didn't want that bill to go to the House. He tried to convince Republicans not to sign on to the discharge petition and tried to prevent that from ever going to the House. He met with Ghislaine Maxwell and tried to control her narrative when the Oversight Committee was going to subpoena her testimony. Right? He told people in the White House, stop talking about Epstein. He sat down with Lauren Boebert and Marjorie Taylor Greene. Hey, don't do this. Don't sign on to the discharge petition. This is going to hurt a bunch of people, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, it goes to Congress. It passes with an overwhelming supermajority. Only one Republican in the House votes no, and the president signs it because of its veto-proof majority. Then the Department of Justice has no choice but to release it, but they don't. They release part of it, and then they refuse to release more. Then they release a little more and refuse to release more. Then we find out they're withholding evidence relevant to SA allegations against Donald Trump, like from credible victims' testimony, people who were previously considered credible by the Department of Justice. So not only are the Epstein files a major story, but the Department of Justice was actively interfering with the release of the files, which was a huge deal and is a huge deal today.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
he was going to fire Pam Bondi in January because of this. He was considering firing her in January. Yeah, because of this.
Yeah.
You have to understand, like, Todd Blanche is Trump's personal attorney. He was the deputy AG, and then he became the acting AG when she got fired. He's the guy that's really absolutely been trying to interfere with that process.
So I really think, but you go back to we have Bill Clinton on that list, yeah. We have.
So what? Throw him in prison. Fuck him.
No, yeah. So I agree. Here's what I agree. Here's what I think. I think we get rid of all the snakes in Washington, and we put term limits on all the dadgum sons of guns, and we, get rid of all the, like the Nancy Pelosi who runs the Democrats, and everything. I think it's all they're all crooked. I mean,
look, man,
it's
there's
the
corruption across the political spectrum. There's certainly corruption in the Democratic Party, and there's certainly people responsible in the Democratic Party. The problem I have, though, is when it comes down to admitting that Donald Trump is complicit, the conversation always is, well, what about Democrats? I just want you to be able to condemn Trump and think critically about his actions without thinking about Democrats. Democrats are not trying to protect Democrats. Democrat voters overwhelmingly are in support of throwing Democrats in prison that are involved criminally with these Epstein files. But what I've seen consistently on the right is a willingness to defend people in the files. I don't see that at all on the left side of the political spectrum, not even a tiny bit. And I've been talking about politics on social media for years. And I have never, ever seen people on the left consistently defending people who are affiliated with those files. But I have seen Republicans, and it's consistent. So that's the problem, I think. But thanks for calling in, dude. Appreciate it. Have a good day.
I appreciate you.
All right, take care.
You do the same. Take care.
Just if we're gonna be honest, right? If we're gonna be honest, we then have to. If we would first have to then condemn Trump, and then we can have a conversation. Hey, look, now that we've condemned him, are we willing to also condemn these other people? Well, of course. But all I can say, and I think everyone in here knows that, most people at least, that people on the left are not protecting Bill Clinton. People on the left are not protecting people on the left. People on the left overwhelmingly want justice, and if that means throwing Bill Clinton in prison, so be it. I don't give a shit. I'm not a Democrat. I vote with Democrats. I think they are way better than Republicans, but I'm also critical of them. I don't care if Bill Clinton goes to prison. Could not care less. If you assault children, you belong. Prison is too good for you, right? And that's the take we should all have. So we just need to consistently condemn people affiliated with it. Dana Hicks says, "You're stupid." Listen, Dana, I hear that a lot. Dana Hicks. I hear that a lot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to your channel, okay? And in front of the live real quick, I'm going to go to your channel, and we're just going to pull up your most recent video. Okay. You've been insulting me for the last hour, so we're going to do this real quick, okay? Yeah, that's what I thought. And by the way, Lane Staley was a leftist. So if you're going to support Lane Staley, I highly recommend you stop supporting Trump. Have a good day. I love how Trump supporters think Charlie Kirk was like a master debater. Dude, Charlie Kirk was an idiot. You guys thought he was smart because you're also dumb. Okay? I hate to be the bearer of bad news. The only reason you thought he was smart is because you're also dumb. Just like you thought that guy had me on the ropes before. Bro, he had you on the ropes, bro. I asked him what is the significance of those negotiations in terms of the consequences for NATO, and he said they're by the water. And you idiots thought his pivot to the Abraham Accords, and then, by the way, his unwillingness to accept the fact that not recognizing Palestinian statehood largely contributed to the attacks on October 7th was him being smart. I mean, it's crazy how goofy you guys are. It really is. It's crazy how goofy. Dogging on a dead guy, bro. Hey, man, listen, being deceased doesn't automatically absolve you of your political opinions. You know what I mean? This person says, how much do they pay you to stream? They don't pay me anything. The only people that pay me are the people who support me. By the way, guys, would appreciate contributing to the gifting goal. You can also support on Venmo at Adam Cray Politics or on Cash App at Adam Cray if you do support. you can do that. Have you guys enjoyed the live tonight? Type 1 in the chat. If you absolutely hate my guts and didn't enjoy the live, you can type 2 in the chat. If you enjoyed the live tonight, let's get a 1 in the chat. If you absolutely hate my guts and didn't enjoy a second of the live, type 2 in the chat. 1 in the chat if we enjoyed the live. 2 in the chat if you can't stand me and you hated every second of it. Let's see. Do we have more 1s than 2s? Bro, it's wild that there's 2s in here. You guys are watching the live. You guys hate my guts? Ben says, I fucking love you so much, man. Love you too, bro. Love you too, man. Appreciate you, bro. Dude, there's so many. Look at the 2s. These people hate my guts, bro. Yeah, donate to my Cash App, Joker. You're right, bro. Definitely do that. Don't get triggered by it. That's right, right, Plight. You're right, bro. FFT says Trump Kool-Aid is that strong to cause confusion. That's true. That's 100% true. They hate my guts. But do they really hate my guts? I mean, really? It's interesting to watch your arguments even if I don't fully agree with you. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. You don't have to agree with me on everything. Bro, somebody wrote 2.4. That's diabolical. Somebody wrote 2.4. That's diabolical. That's insulting. 2.4. Jesus. Bro, somebody named Du Bois 4364 said 2. Bro, you don't have to watch me, right? So if you guys are new here, I'll tell you really quick. I've been debating for a long time on social media. I just started on YouTube this year. So we're new over here, but if you guys haven't followed me on TikTok, I highly recommend you do, because I do a lot of streams on TikTok every single morning. I'm on TikTok live every single morning. And a lot of my content is over on TikTok. So if you guys don't watch me on TikTok, it's the same name, Adam Cray on TikTok. I usually stream on the account with like 170,000 followers over there. There's another account with like 40,000 followers. I stream on there sometimes too, but it's mostly on the one with 170K. So go over and follow that channel if you want to watch me in the morning over there. I do debate over there sometimes too, although TikTok is really, kind of shitty. So it's usually in the morning, GLG. It's usually in the morning. What's my opinion on Trump bombing Iran, or whatever, or threatening to make it worse? No, I think it's terrible. I think it's an awful decision, right? I think he's made a terrible mistake. I know a lot of people only do YouTube. I totally get it. So am I a liberal? No. Nope. I'm farther left than a liberal. I am left enough where I am pretty critical of Democrats. But that's not really the point. I am a human rights first kind of person. I'm always going to advocate for human rights before anything else, but specifically the rights of American citizens. I'm interested in the rights of American citizens. I'm interested in trying to force politicians to do better for you. I can't stand modern day politicians. I hate most of them. And people who watch me know this. There's no one I won't fucking criticize. So just across the board. But I think Republicans have a very particular issue right now. Ideologically, they've moved to a dangerous part of the spectrum there, a really far right side of the spectrum. I would argue a fascist side. I do believe Donald Trump is a fascist. I think he meets all 14 tenets of fascism. I think he's an ultranationalist. And I think that he should not be president of the United States. So, and I've been saying that for a long time. That's nothing new. So I just encourage people to recognize a couple of things. And that's that there's way too much foreign influence over our government. Israel has, and Netanyahu specifically, are ruining this country, dragging us into war now. That's the amount of power they have, dumping money into elections to make sure candidates who recognize that the American-Israeli pact is an issue lose, and that ultimately, regardless of what happens with Trump here, we need a system that's better for everybody. And we're not going to get there through electing fascists and people who try and consolidate power to the executive branch of the government, right? We have, we're in a position right now. I can't even guarantee we're going to survive, and that may sound dramatic, but I've seen a lot of really disturbing things over the last few years. If you guys don't know, I was in Minnesota during the battle for Minneapolis, and what I saw there is, that'll wake anyone up. Just people's constitutional rights. The federal government dressed in camo, in fatigues, coming out and beating the shit out of American citizens. That's about as fascist as it gets, ladies and gentlemen. And I don't care what side of the political spectrum you're on, you should not support that. It's not just their constitutional rights that were being infringed on, it was yours. I watched American citizens get punched, get pepper sprayed for no reason, just protesting, get illegally searched and seized. You saw with Alex Preddy, this was a guy exercising his Second Amendment right, protesting a constitutional right, thrown on the ground, disarmed, and executed. I can't believe there are American citizens that would defend that, regardless of your political affiliation. How could you possibly defend that? Josh says, great stream tonight. Still can't believe some of these idiots resorting to slurs at the end of these arguments. That's what they always do, Josh. They do the same thing on TikTok. They do the same thing on every platform. It's not particular to YouTube, but thank you so much, Josh. I agree. It's deeply disturbing. There's no reason to drop slurs. They do it everywhere, though. It's nothing new. FFT, thank you so much. MAGA try both sides and both Biden on anything. Yes, and I hate that, right? Like we can be legitimately critical of politicians on both sides, but when you're unwilling to condemn the guy you support and you just want a whataboutism, which is what that is to Biden, it means you're not genuinely interested in having a conversation. I would agree. Netanyahu has a tremendous amount of influence. It is deeply disturbing. Tina, thank you so much, Tina. I appreciate you. All right, guys, I got to run. Appreciate you guys. Been on here for a long time. Love you guys. Appreciate you. Have a wonderful day. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit the notification bell so you don't miss future lives. I will be on tomorrow. Tomorrow morning, I will be on TikTok. So make sure you go follow, same name, Adam Cray on TikTok. And I will be back on here tomorrow evening. Take care, everybody. Love you. Have a wonderful night. Sleep tight. Jeremy, thank you so much, Jeremy. JS Rocker says, bro, that's literally all you do. Drop slurs. Bro, I've never said a slur. You're confusing slur with swear word, you troglodyte. I love Trump supporters that think slur means swear word. Fuck is not a slur. Okay? The N-word is. Chris, thank you, bro. Appreciate you guys. Take care.